Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Southwest.
With 4 starts under his belt, Chichi Gonzalez continues to impress. His ERA is still under 1 as he displays the poise of a veteran. His only loss came at the hands of tonight's opponent, the Oakland A's, and he only gave up 1 run in that loss. So tonight, he gets a rematch, and this one is at home, sweet home. From Globe Life Park in Arlington, the Rangers beat the Oakland A's next. Texas Rangers baseball is presented by AT Uverse TV. Well, our first night home game of summer. We are about ready to get things underway at Globe Life Park on a very comfortable evening. Tonight, your Texas Rangers host the Oakland Athletics. And welcome in, everyone, along with Tom Greaves, Steve Busby. Glad you could join us for this evening of Ranger baseball on a Tuesday night at Globe Life Park. And tonight, the Rangers have, well, maybe the story of the last month and a half or so going for them. It'll be Chichi Gonzalez, Tom, who has been every bit as good as we'd hoped.
He's been better than I hoped for. You know, very seldom does a young kid get called up to the big leagues for the first time, look this poised, and have this kind of success. He's become the kind of pitcher that you can't wait to see his next start. Now, he's not a dominating guy because he strikes out a lot of batters. He's been a dominating guy because he's been able to knock the bat out of the hitter's hand. Running the fastball in on the right-hand hitters, he's given up an .096 batting average, 5 for 56 to right-hand hitters. His velocity has been solid, but it's really the command within the strike zone and the movement on his fastball that's getting the job done at such a high level for him right now.
And we have yet to see a situation that has bothered Chichi Gonzalez to the point where it was visible. He might have had some butterflies, but he didn't share those with anybody else. He has kept his composure extremely well. So the Rangers will try and follow their 23-year-old right-hander out for a win tonight. We'll come back with the starting lineup and the first pitch right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your Texas Ford dealer now for great deals on America's best-selling brand. Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T UVerse TV. UVerse has more live TV channels on the go than cable. By Budweiser. Make a plan to make it home. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Well, gorgeous evening, low 90s the temperature, and Adrian Beltre getting set to get back into the lineup the first time since the 31st of May. Adrian, has been on kind of pins and needles in the Ranger dugout trying to figure out a way to get through these ball games, and Rangers happy to have him back in their lineup tonight. It'll be interesting to see what Adrian can do, and this is Adrian Beltre earlier this afternoon during batting practice. Boy, from Adrian said during the Chicago series that just completed road trip, he was not able to grip a bat the way he wanted to, and that was on Friday. And here we are the following Tuesday, and all of a sudden he's back in the lineup. That's a pretty quick turnaround for Beltre. Of course, Jeff Bannister knows as well as anybody that Adrian Beltre, nothing that he does to get back in the lineup would surprise you, I don't think.
No, and the other thing, Buzz, is he's probably, in fact, I'm pretty sure he's not at 100%, but 80%, 90%, 70% of Adrian Beltre is good enough to be in the lineup. Yep. As long as he can't injure it anymore, as long as he's healthy enough to play, we'll take his defense and we'll take his veteran leadership out there.
That you will. Well, the Rangers taking the field tonight. Alex Chichi Gonzalez out to have his 5th start of the year, and Tom's going to tell you now about the Amica Oakland A's lineup that he will face.
Well, the hot Billy Burns, the center fielder, will lead off, followed by the second baseman Eric Sogard. Ben Zobrist is in left field. Josh Reddick bats 4th in right field. Billy Butler is the DH. Ike Davis is at first base. Brett Lowry bats 7th. He plays 3rd. The catcher is Josh Fegley. And batting 9th is the shortstop, Marcus Semien.
And that batting order has been getting things done for Oakland of late. The offense has improved quite a bit. And for the first time this year, Chichi Gonzalez is going to face a team for the second time at the big league level. That very fine 2-1 mark with the 0.90 ERA. This is this start. Adjustments, if necessary, will be critical. And what do I mean by that? The progressive scouting report telling you that don't make adjustments just for the sake of changing something. If you had success the way Chichi did last time out against Oakland, that doesn't mean you can't go out and do exactly the same thing as far as execution and expect similar results. He gave up a run in the first inning in Oakland in that outing, and that was all he gave up. Had trouble with the first 5 hitters he faced in that ball game, so it's not like they beat him around and he has to go out there and try to be a completely different kind of pitcher. I think Chichi Gonzalez will show you that his good stuff in the strike zone is going to work against anybody. Hello, Ranger defense tonight delivered to you by Brake Check. Outfield this evening, a Gallo in left, Martin in center. Ryan Arua in right, taking the place of Shin-Soo Choo, who has a bulky back. Mitch Moreland at first, Odor and Andrews up the middle. Adrian Beltre, nice to see him back in the lineup at third, and Robinson Chirinos is catching. No, Oakland comes in 5th place in the Western Division. They are 10 games behind the front-running Houston Astros. And the first pitch of the night is cut on and missed by Billy Burns. Burns at .323. He has his second 12-game hitting streak going. That's a career high for him. He also had one about 5 weeks ago. 0-2 very quickly as Chichi Gonzalez again going right after the hitters. Kind of a trademark of the young right-hander. Burns, you can see on this latest 12-game hitting streak, a .377 mark. 0-2 pitch. In off the plate. 91 degrees at first pitch tonight. Pretty comfortable humidity level. Wind the breeze blowing from the right field corner over toward the left field corner. There's one poked right down the third baseline, but it's a foul ball.
Well, that's, I won't say a typical ball for Burns, although he does get a lot of infield hits. He's had 21 infield hits this year, second in the major leagues. kind of a slashing type hitter. Will expand the zone a little bit. That ball had to be at least a foot outside, but that was because of the movement that it had. He didn't even make contact while the bat was in his hand.
Yeah, not only does he have good bat control when he's holding on to it, apparently he has good bat control letting go of it.
Look at pitch 4, how far outside that pitch was.
And he fouls off a pitch that stayed up that time. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Chichi Gonzalez, 23 years of age, the Rangers' first-round draft pick in 2013 out of Oral Roberts University. Back to the plate. And a pitch chop foul the other way. Well, if you ever wondered what the term slashing hitter meant, you would look it up, and Billy Burns' picture would be there with a video showing you this at bat.
He's hit a pitch a foot outside, a foot low and inside, and about 8 inches high.
And that pitch, a fastball up that he fouls back. That's the 7th pitch of the at bat, and it's still 1-2. That spray chart, it looks like it's all over the place. And Chichi hasn't found a spot yet where Burns can at least make contact. No, pitch number 8 coming. And that's low and inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Billy Burns doing a pretty good job of taking the place of the injured Coco Crisp. Crisp on the DL for a good chunk of this season for Oakland. Another chopper foul. And I would think you could say Billy Burns has done an adequate job of filling in for him, not only in the lineup, but defensively also. Good looking outfielder.
Yeah, from what we've seen, I think he's just as solid an outfielder as Crisp. The only thing Crisp can do that Burns doesn't do is hit for power. Crisp, not a power hitter, but more power than Burns. Other than that, Burns is definitely holding his own.
Well, he is just wearing out everything that Chichi Gonzalez throws up there. Not putting it in play, but that's the 10th pitch of the at-bat, number 11 coming up.
Yeah, I would say that if every other hitter swings at these same pitches, they're not going to have as long of an at-bat that this kid's having.
No. Tapper right back to the mound.
Why'd you just do that on the first one and save us 5 minutes? Well, that's all you're going to do.
11 pitches, and Burns is disposed of. And now we can get back down to playing baseball.
Yeah, now I have a couple of 1-pitch outs, and you'd be back to normal.
There you go. And again, you couldn't tell by Chichi Gonzalez's body language or his facial expression that it was anything out of the ordinary.
No,
it's just a normal day at the office.
And what does go through a pitcher's mind, Buzz? First batter of the game, when you have to throw him 11 pitches to get him out, is it frustrating?
Yeah, I know you're being a little facetious, so you could have done that in the first pitch. We could have gotten, that's the way you feel.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to hit the ball out of the ballpark or get on base, do it quick. It does get frustrating.
But I guess you go out to the mound, and nowadays anyway, not so much when you were pitching, but you go to the mound nowadays feeling like, okay, more or less I got 100 pitches today.
Yeah.
And if you have to use 10 of them to the first hitter, you say, there goes 10% of my pitches right off the bat.
Yeah, exactly. Eric Sogard lofts a pop-up shallow left, going out. Elvis Andrews making the call on the catch in front of Joey Gallo. 2 gone.
It's kind of one of those at-bats where all Burns did is tap back to the mound, but he served the purpose of making Chichi throw a lot of pitches, and the way he's been pitching, if that means maybe he's out of there a couple of outs earlier than normal, then maybe it was a very effective at-bat, even though he didn't get a hit.
Well, 2 away bases empty for Ben Zobrist. Last time we saw Zobrist in Oakland a couple weeks ago, he was just coming off the disabled list. Been off about 9 or 10 days. Really wasn't swinging the bat very well, but he's turned that around of late. He's gotten the average now up to a representative 243 average. Last 8 ball games, he's hit .407. And this is a guy that can swing the bat and swing it well. And when we were in Oakland also, there was a lot of talk about, well, if the A's stay out of contention, continue playing poorly, then there'll be some guys that the A's would look to move, and Zobrist was one of those. Chops this one to Moreland, and Mitchell underhanding Gonzalez. Well, there you go, a 17-pitch first inning with 11 of them coming on the first hitter. 3 up, 3 down. We played a half inning. A's nothing, the Rangers coming up. Going to tell you about the Texas Rangers Southwest Airlines starting lineup.
For the Rangers, it'll be Rougned Odor leading off, followed by the left fielder Joey Gallo. Prince Fielder is the DH, and Adrian Beltre is back at the cleanup spot. Mitch Moreland will hit 5th. Elvis Andrus is batting 6th. The center fielder, Leonis Martin, will hit 7th, followed by the right fielder, Ryan Rua, and the catcher, Robinson Chirinos.
And the Ranger order will face a familiar foe, and that would be Jesse Chavez, the 31-year-old right-hander. First pitch of the ball game is high and away for ball 1. Chavez, basic cutter, slider, changeup kind of pitcher. You know, he has a great ability, though, when he's pitching well, and he is pitching well of late, to stay away from the good part of the bat. In other words, not many pitches in the center of home plate. And because of that, he's able to keep the ball in any ballpark. Does not give up many home runs, less than a half a home run per 9 innings pitched. 2-0, though, the count to Rougned Odor. Now 2-1. Rougned moved up to the top of the order, 181 the average. Mentioned Shin-Soo Choo, who had been manning the leadoff spot out of tonight's game. Had some stiffness in his back. And Rougned is a pretty good imitation of the quality leadoff hitter that he can be, as he pounds that into center for a leadoff single.
Yeah, looked like Jesse Chavez hung a changeup to him. Right down the middle of the plate and about belt high. Paid the price for it. Boy, actually, you know, you see a swing like that and it looks like the pitch is right down the middle. Then you see the replay of it and see the pitch is actually about an inch outside. But it was up, which gave him a better chance to make some solid contact, I guess.
So Odor with the leadoff base hit, aboard for Joey Gallo. It's the second time in Joey's young major league career that he has batted in the second slot. Joey, a little bit of a downturn of late, and he's been hitting mostly third lately. On the just completed road trip, he went just 2 for 17. Pulls one softly on the ground to Sogard. The second, and that's all they're going to get. As Odor going in hard to prevent Marcus Semien from being able to complete a double play. And we'll take a look at the rest of the A's defense behind Jesse Chavez today. Outfield this evening is Zobrist in left, Burns in center, and Reddick in right field. Ike Davis at first. You saw him. Sogard and Semien up the middle. Brett Lowry is at third, and Josh Begley gets the start behind the plate. So 1 out now. Gallo at first. Here's Prince Fielder. And he takes strike 1. Fielder at .340. 11 home runs, 47 driven in. He is 4 out of 7 in his career against Jesse Chavez. One of those 4 a home run. One ball and 1 strike.
And it's a nice luxury to have a guy like Jesse Chavez on your pitching staff. He started the season out in the bullpen, then got a shot to start as the 6th lowest ERA in the league, 2.52, and numbers go right along with it. Only 67 hits in 78 innings, only 19 walks, and 70 strikeouts in 78 innings, almost a strikeout per inning. Opponents are only hitting .233 against him. He was a good pitcher for them last year. 146 innings, 8-8 with a .345 ERA. He's even better this year.
He did about the same thing last year, didn't he, Tom? He started off in the pen, then came on when they needed another starter.
Yeah, he had 21 starts last year and 11 relief appearances.
Yeah. Chavez originally drafted by the Rangers.
Yeah.
Way back in 2003.
I think if you're Jesse Chavez, you see a lot of guys coming and going, and you wonder, why am I the one put in the bullpen? Yeah. What else do I have to do to show you that I deserve to be a starter?
Fielder takes that one low and inside. It's now 3 balls and a strike. So Prince trying to get aboard to join Joey Gallo. Maybe
that's a balk. That's a balk.
Yeah.
Umpire moved his shoulder.
Lance Barrett, the home plate umpire back there, wanted to call it a strike. Said, nah. Now the count 3-2 as he got that last one. Fielder hitting third. He'll be followed by the new guy in the lineup. That is Adrian Beltre. There he is. Trying to see AB back. Chavez, a check of Gallo. And a little toss over there. Prince Fielder in kind of an extra base drought. Against the A's, he's not had a drought at all. 5 home runs in 30 ball games. But last 9, he's hit close to 400. There goes Gallo, and the pitch is fouled away. Well, Gallo will retrace his steps, and we'll try another 3-2 pitch. The Fielder has 4 extra base hits in his last 22 games. One of those a home run.
Well, Jesse Chavez is doing a pretty good job of painting a picture around the strike zone without throwing anything near the middle of it.
Gallo on the move again. The pitch is outside, ball 4. And down to first goes Fielder on the walk. And that puts 2 aboard with 1 out for Adrian Beltre.
Should be a pretty good ovation. Fans came to the ballpark not knowing that Adrian was going to be in the lineup tonight. We did too.
We were at the ballpark for a while before we realized it.
Yeah, this is probably the longest we've ever seen that it took the Rangers to post their lineup. Yeah. Generally, it's there when we get there between 3 and 3:30. Today, it was somewhere around 5 o'clock, I guess, where that lineup finally came up.
Yeah, they had to make sure that Adrian could take some batting practice and come through that okay, and I guess some ground balls, etc., and make sure he's going to be able to go through his full routine. And he did.
And probably every step of the way, he's saying, I'm playing, I'm playing. They're probably saying, no, take a day, take a day. And over the years, he's talked his way off the bench and into the lineup on numerous occasions. So chances are that happened today, too.
Going after that Chavez pitch up, and he swung through it for strike 1.
Yeah, the 2 things that will hurt the most, I would think, is a swing and a miss and a jam shot. If the ball's out over the plate and you make solid contact, that'll be good. Check swing might bother you a little bit. Anything out of the ordinary.
Now, the game in which Adrian tore that, or sprained that thumb ligament, he had a couple of RBI singles to his credit against Boston.
Yeah.
So if you want to look at it that way, he's on a pretty good roll.
Yep.
Just 3 weeks in between at bats. Here in the first, though, he's got Gallo at second, Fielder at first. 2 balls and a strike. Chavez checking the runners and misses outside. It's 3-1.
I mentioned that Chavez only walked 19 in 78 innings. He's being careful to the middle of the Ranger lineup. But he's thrown 16 pitches and only 7 of them have been strikes so far. Get him while he's struggling a little bit.
Slowly hit down the third baseline, and that veers off into foul territory. So we'll come back and try it again at 3-2. Back-to-back hitters now that Chavez has gone to a full count. Fielder and now Beltre.
Oh, pretty good 3-1 pitch too. Borderline strike down and away.
Now Beltre back in his customary 4th spot in the order. He'll be followed by Mitch Moreland, the Ranger first baseman. Now the 3-2 from Chavez. Backhanded by Semien for second, and that's all they will get. Sogard checking to make sure Gallo didn't round third base too much. He did not. Now the fielder's choice removes Prince Fielder at second. Beltre now at first, and Moreland coming up with runners at the corner.
You can see Tony Beasley, the third base coach, pointing, stay on the bag. The runner can't see what's happening behind him, and sometimes the tendency is to take a turn and take a look, and if he did that, Sogard was ready to fire the ball to the third baseman, but that's the third base coach's job, to alert the runner, stay on the bag. And we've seen Tony so far this season do a great job at third base.
Moreland takes a strike in at the knees. It is 0-1. Mitch, a .294 average with 8 home runs and 33 RBI. 1 for 8 against Chavez is Mitch Moreland. And of course, Mitch, high career numbers against the Oakland A's. 12 home runs against Oakland. That's the most that he has against any ball team. And his RBI total, 29, tied for the most that he's had in his career also. That also has had 29 against Seattle. Chance here to do some first inning damage. Chavez ready for the 1-1 pitch. There's that changeup, and it's a good one. 1-2 to Mitch.
Yeah, Chavez is one of the less physical imposing pitchers you'll see. But when he lets go of the ball, he becomes fairly imposing. He's got a good velocity on his fastball, good life on it, and a really good assortment of other pitches to go with it.
Still a ball and 2 strikes. Now, he's not a big guy by any. He's 6'2", but weighs 160 pounds or so.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Put some rocks in his pockets if he's pitching in a strong wind. Get blown right off the mound. Joey Gallo, the runner, over at third. Adrian Beltre across the diamond at first. Scoreless game here in the bottom of the first. And Moreland hits a 2-hopper out to Sogard. That'll do it as Mitch is shot down. The Rangers strand a couple on a base hit and a walk. We'll head to the second inning at Globe Life Park. We are scoreless Well, we're scoreless as we head to the top of the second inning. Chichi Gonzalez back out there, and he will work to the middle third of the Oakland order. It'll be Josh Reddick, Billy Butler, and Ike Davis. Reddick a .290 average, and he takes strike one. Josh Reddick, the 10 home runs, 42 RBI, 1 out of 3 in the first game that he faced Chichi Gonzalez. I mentioned Chichi in that first matchup against Oakland in Oakland. Allowed a run before he'd gotten out of the first inning, and that was all he allowed. Ended up working 7 innings in that game, gave up 8 hits and that 1 run. That pitch just off the outer edge. And 3-1 now, the count to Reddick. Reddick starting things off. Billy Butler, the designated hitter, will follow. (3-1). That's line to left field. Toward the line is Joey Gallo. Big long strides out there and covers a lot of ground in a hurry. That's out number 1. And before Billy Butler steps in, let's welcome in Jim Knox.
Oh, I appreciate it, Buzz. A few of the Ranger fans tonight enjoying this evening's game in a unique way. Victoria, what's this about?
We're hanging out, watching the Ranger game, and voting for the All-Star game as many times as we can for our Rangers.
Now, Kelly, how many times can you vote for Rangers?
35 times per email.
So everybody here in this suite right now, throughout the game, they will be voting?
Yes, sir.
All-Star game is July 14th on Fox. And vote All-Stars, all Rangers, right?
Yes, sir, all Rangers.
Okay, TexasRangers.com, the place to be?
Yes, it is.
TexasRangers.com. All right, appreciate it, Buzz.
All right, Knoxy, thank you. And meanwhile, Billy Butler. A harmless 2-hopper out to Elvis. 4 out, number 2. Next will be Ike Davis.
You know, Buzz, we sometimes mention the fact that Chichi does not strike a lot of guys out, but this is very typical of the way he pitches. I think if you had a pitch chart for every pitch he's thrown in the 4+ starts that he's had and compare it to anyone else's last 4 starts, you probably see fewer pitchers near the center of the plate, pitches near the center of the plate than other pitchers. He just doesn't make that many bad pitches, and so the result may not be strikeouts, but it's a lot of weakly hit balls, ground balls, jam shots, pop-ups. It's not like he's got a .090 ERA and a .173 batting average because he's had the good fortune of having a lot of line drives hit right at people. He's deserved the opponent's batting average based on the pitches he's made, the way they've hit the ball against him.
1 ball and 1 strike. The count to Ike Davis. There's a little dribbler down to first, and it'll be another 1-2-3 inning with Fitzwaterman flipping to Chichi Gonzalez. A 10-pitch frame. The A's are gone after 1.5. No score in Arlington. Baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your Texas Ford dealer now for great deals on America's best-selling brand. Ford is the best in Texas. Well, welcome back as we head to the bottom of the second. Elvis Andrews to start things off. And folks, you know that Emily Jones has an awful lot of fans from Ranger Telecast. And for those Emily Jones fans, we apologize. Emily is a little under the weather. She has to take the evening off. So we certainly hope she gets better. And Elvis Andrews is saying, I hope you get better too, Em, with that double into the corner. Elvis chopping one by the reach of Brett Lowry, and the Rangers have their leadoff man in scoring position for Leonis Martin.
Elvis able to keep this ball just barely fair. Like a sinker near the middle of the plate. Didn't get that ball down and away. Elvis got on top of it, hit it on the ground, but as you can see, and as Dale Scott, the third base umpire, lets you know, that's fair, right down the line. And there's the move. Almost every team does that now in some form, some signal to the bench after something is done well. And as far as we can remember, it was the Rangers that started that during one of those postseason years.
It started in spring training.
Was it in spring training they started it?
I'm trying to remember who was that started it. One of the
kids that sat on the bench.
One of the backup infielders.
What was that guy's name?
He started at least the claw part.
Right.
Now, I'm not sure about the antlers. Somebody came up with the antlers too at the end of that spring training. Yeah, I can see him.
Too old to remember everything. But we'll go ask someone younger who can remember that. We won't leave you hanging. We'll come back with the answer.
0-1 the count to Leonis Martin. Leonis kind of broke out of things on Sunday afternoon. He'd been an 0 for 21 for getting a home run and a single in his last two at-bats. And here he gets the job done, even though it's a ground out. He moves Elvis over to third. So you get him on, get him over. Now it's up to Ryan Rua to get him in.
That was a good job. I think Leonis went up there knowing he had to move him over to third. He could get a base hit, great, but make sure that you get him to third. He tried to bunt, didn't get that done that way, didn't get it done that way, and then hit a hard ground ball. Move the runner to third. The A's respecting the job that Chichi has done this year. Maybe a low-scoring game. They're going to try to cut off this run rather than give it up on a ground ball.
Good look at the infield, pulled all the way in. Ryan Rua at the plate. Ryan had his first home run on Sunday in Chicago. Takes outside for ball one. Yeah, and the other part of pulling the infield in, A's have not scored for Jesse Chavez at all again this year.
No.
Averaging just over 2 runs per start for him in 2015. Chavez might have turned around and said, hey, you guys got to come in further. We got to cut this run off somehow. And that's off the glove of Flagley. Back to the backstop, in to score as Elvis, and the Rangers lead it 1-0. Looked like Flagley got crossed up. Either that or just didn't react to that pitch up.
You know, the other thing was that Chavez just assumed when that ball went back to the screen that it was an automatic run, and it's anything but that in our ballpark. That ball can hit the wall and bounce right straight back to the catcher. That just ball goes off his glove. And Chavez never covers home plate.
Yep.
The catcher has the ball. I don't think he would have gotten him, but he would have thrown it, and there would have been at least the attempt at a tag at the plate. But he never went to cover home.
Well, that's going to be a pass ball on Josh Phegley.
That ball easily could have bounced right straight back to him and been an easy out at the plate.
Sure could have.
But it wouldn't have been if Chavez wasn't covering.
The pitch on the inside corner to make it 3-1 to Rua. Yeah, that's when turning into a spectator is not good.
No.
Rangers, 132 runs scored in the first 3 innings this year. They have been very good early in ball games. Watch the jump Elvis gets on this. He sees the ball, and there we go.
The catcher's got the ball, but Elvis knows there's not going to be a play because he saw where Chavez was.
Chavez now with a 3-2 pitch. Call, strike 3.
Ooh.
Well, Chavez painting the outside corner, got the call. from Lance Barrett. And that is out number 2.
Well, both these pitchers are very good at keeping the ball away from the middle of the plate, trying to hit the corners. And Chavez almost hit the corner. Perfect pitch, down and away. I would have had a hard time reaching that one. But right next to the strike zone, perfect pitch.
So 2 away. Here's Robinson Chirinos now. Chirinos batting in the 9th slot. 201 average as he takes ball 1. Chirinos, 6 home runs, 24 driven in. And you take the 2 catchers, he and Carlos Corcoran, by themselves, and figured, well, neither hitting all that well or driving in all that many, but as a tandem, they've done a pretty good job producing from the catcher spot. Chirinos with half a dozen home runs, 24 RBI, and Corcoran with 2 home runs and 11 RBI. So that's
real good.
Reasonably good. Yeah, 35 RBI, 8 home runs. And a fastball right down the middle to make it 3-1. There's Carlos Corcoran talking to Kyle Blanks over there, Leonis Martin. The 3-1 from Chavez. Lance Barrett wanted to call it again, but restrained himself. Second walk of the game issued by Jesse Chavez, and he'll take the Rangers back to the top of the order for Rougned Odor. Odor began things by singling to center field. Rougned now with that batting average on the rise ever since he came back into the lineup, and he was recalled from AAA a week ago yesterday. This is his 6th start in the 7 games he has been with the club. He fouls off that first pitch. Now 4 for 13, including that last road trip. 6 for 15 overall with 5 runs driven in since the recall from AAA. Chavez a check at first, the 0-1 pitch. And 0-2. Odor at Round Rock finished up things on a high note. He finished up with 8 consecutive multi-hit games before coming back to the big leagues. He ended up hitting .352 at AAA. Chirinos, the runner at first. Chavez will check him. The 0-2 pitch. Left center field, and is slicing away from Burns. It is down for a hit. Burns cuts it off, so they're going to have to hold Chirinos at third on a double by Odor, who's 2 for 2.
Yeah, the ball was right between the outfielders. It split the gap. Wasn't hit quite hard enough to roll to the warning track. And the outfielder was able to get over and cut it off and keep Robinson from being able to come all the way around. Odor gets a pitch away, much like the pitch he had the first time up as far as location goes. Lined the first one to center field, this one in the gap. I don't know if you've got Martin running or Elvis running, maybe you have a chance. As it is, it'll take a hit right here by Joey Gallo to get a couple in.
And Gallo trying to get everybody in with that swing. Fouls it back. Oh, 1 to Joey. 1 ball and 1 strike. Gallo reached on a fielder's choice in the first inning. That batting average now down to 219. Well, depending on where you are up there, you've got a shot at it. Gallo to right center field. Just didn't quite get it all. Billy Burns camps underneath, and that towering fly ball comes down for the out. But the Rangers do jump on top. A run on 2 hits and they leave 2. And after 2 innings of play, it's the Rangers 1, the A's nothing. The Rangers leading the A's 1-0. And Brett Lowry to start things off against Chichi Gonzalez. Pitches outside for ball 1. Lowry in the number 7 slot to be followed by Josh Fagley and then Marcus Semien. Chichi has set down the first 6 that he's faced. And he misses outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Lowry picking things up a bit. He's up to 291 with the average, as you saw. 6 home runs and 31 RBI. That is out of play on the first base side. It's 2-1. Lowry came over from Toronto in that trade that sent Josh Donaldson over to the Blue Jays.
Watch out.
Speaking of the Blue Jays, Rangers on this next road trip beginning Friday night will get a chance to see Toronto. Lowry, a 7-game hitting streak that's seen him hit to the tune of a .444 average. Up and in. And Lowry,
he didn't have a chance at that ball.
Swing foul.
He's looking for something down and away like he'd seen earlier in the count. Whoops. See him open his mouth. He thought that was going to hit him right in the hands.
And a chopper foul. I think, Tom, a good indication of how good Chichi's stuff is and his command. See a lot of check swings, like that check swing foul ball that Lowry just had. To me, when you see hitters doing that, they don't get to the ball the way they think they should. The high chopper to third. Beltre with his first opportunity. There is out number 1.
Yeah, I think he's so good at moving the ball around. Some pitchers pitch you a certain way and you tend to feel comfortable looking away, looking in. Chichi moves the ball around so much and it has so much movement. If you're anticipating a pitch away and it's in, it's tough to pull the trigger on it. If you're looking for something that you might be able to drive and he takes a little bit off and cuts it away from you, it's tough to get a good swing at it. He just seems to have a knack. At least 5 games into his big league career he does.
Josh Fagley is next. He takes strike 1.
I want to know how they scored as much as they did against him in the minor leagues before he got here.
No kidding.
Look at this.
Chopper to the right side. Right there is Rougned Odor very quickly. 2 outs here in the 3rd inning.
I mean, it's 8 up, 8 down. The only ball that was even close to hit hard was the semi-line drive that Reddick hit to left field, which was basically a routine out. Other than that, everything's been on the ground except the little pop-up that Sogard hit the shortstop. And the ones on the ground hadn't been hit hard either.
36 pitches for the first 8 outs for Chichi Gonzalez. Here's Marcus Semien, the shortstop, batting ninth with a .263 average as he faces the right-hander from the Rangers. 1-1. Semien, half a dozen home runs. He has driven in 17. He has been scuffling of late. And he lines this to right center. That is down, and there's the first hit of the night given up by Chichi Gonzalez. No, 8 consecutive retired before the first base runner. And that'll take the A's back to the top of their order. Well, folks, on the 7th day of the 7th month, the Rangers are bringing you $7 upper reserved and upper box seats tickets. Plus, Papa John's is activating Rangers 7 special. That's all day. Just visit TexasRangers.com and use the coupon code 777 to get your tickets for the Diamondbacks and Rangers game on July 7th. First 15,000 fans 14 and older will also get a Rangers Hawaiian t-shirt. That's courtesy of Fox Sports Southwest. The 777 going on. Billy Burns steps in for his second at bat. Burns, you'll remember, had that 11 pitch at bat to start the ball game off. And he loops one the other way. It's a fair ball down the left field line. Stopping at second is Semien. Well, that slashing approach that Billy Burns has, and able to go line to line virtually. Got that one in fair territory, and the A's now with 2 outs have 2 aboard for Eric Sogard.
Second baseman Eric Sogard.
May not have gotten that quite as far in as he wanted to, but still, you can't complain about a little blooper that's hit right off the handle. You're almost watching him pitch. You expect him to make a perfect pitch every time.
2 on with 2 out. Eric Sogard popped out to Elvis at first time up. There's a little looper. Elvis going out. Can't quite get it. Around third is Semien. He will score. Now they've got Burns in the rundown. The throw back to Odor, and he's out. Well, the run scored. The run counts as Semien able to cross home plate, but Burns caught straying too far on his turn going to third. So, the A's with a run. We've played 2.5. We are tied at 1. To catch up with Josh Hamilton. First of all, can you give us a quick update on how you're feeling physically? Everything going well?
I'm feeling good. I think the biggest thing is they're slowing me down a little bit, just for a simple fact that they're going to Toronto playing on turf. And it's a little rough on the body playing up there on turf. So we pumped the brakes a little bit. And so I'm headed out tomorrow, go to Frisco, and then flying to New Orleans, hit up with Round Rock, and go to Omaha after that. So the plan is to be back in Baltimore on Monday.
You know, Josh, after a slow month of April, the team has started to play some good baseball. As you've been watching the team, are you pretty excited about getting back the way the team's been playing and what the next 3.5 months might have in store?
Yeah, I'm very excited, man. It's one of those things, you come in, they're playing good already before you get here. You jump into the mix of things and continue to play well and, go down. You hate to go down, but, they've kept right on going. Guys stepping in, when Beltre and me go down and, just mixing guys around, and everybody's doing a great job and having fun doing it.
Josh, if you have at bats through this weekend, is there any doubt in your mind that that's enough to get your timing back to where you want it?
There's no doubt in my mind. I'm ready right now if I go to the plate. So I feel good. Batting practice has been going really good, so I'm excited about getting back, especially Baltimore. I don't know why, but I like Baltimore.
Great.
Appreciate it, Josh. If you got 4 in you, you might as well save until then, right?
I will.
All right. Thank you, Josh.
Bye.
And Josh making sure that folks in Baltimore know that he's going to be there. The Rangers would love to get him back and for that series. And, all of a sudden, assuming everybody else stays in relatively good health for the next week, that would add one huge cog to the middle of that order. You get Adrian back swinging the bat well, and Mitch Moreland's done a great job getting behind Prince Fielder. Prince starting to catch back up with things. Mitch. Add Josh Hamilton in that mix, and all of a sudden you've got 5 or 6 in the middle of the order that give any pitcher a chance to, or no chance to catch his breath.
Yep.
There's Adrian. Nice to see him back. To me, that was unexpected to see Adrian's name come in that lineup today. I didn't think that was going to happen.
I didn't either.
Just because of what Adrian said he was having problems doing in Chicago. Prince fouling it out of play. Said he was having trouble finding a spot where he could, or finding a grip on the bat where it didn't hurt. He said if it was just uncomfortable, that's fine. You can play with that. But he said it hurt. And, all of a sudden, somebody came up with cushioning, and you see the tape there between his hands. Sure, he had enough suggestions to fill a huge suggestion box his way, but apparently he found something that made him comfortable enough to swing the bat. Meanwhile, Prince Fielder having a pretty long drawn out affair, his 9th pitch of this at bat, and we're going to have to go to at least 10.
Well, one thing the A's have done this year is they've had a lot of innings from their starting pitchers. In fact, the A's starting pitchers have thrown more innings than any other team, and it's probably a little bit by design because their bullpen has been so poor. I'm sure Bob Melvin is trying to stretch the starters as much as he can.
Sogard flagging down that rocket. That is a hard out number 1 for Prince Fielder.
They lead the majors in innings pitched, and they rank 2nd in the fewest home runs given up. So they keep the ball in the ballpark, and they stay out there longer than most teams' starters. And it's going to be hard for Chavez to stay and pitch as deep into the ball game as he has been lately. He's thrown 7 or more innings in 4 of his last 5 starts, but he's already at 53 pitches with 1 out in the 3rd inning.
That Beltre, a chopper over the mound, Semien charging. And he throws out Adrian, so 2 gone. No bases empty. Mitch Moreland coming up. Before we tell you about Mitch, let's send it back to Dana Larson for a Mazda game break. All right, Dana, thank you. Toronto had cooled off a little bit. Tampa Bay hadn't cooled off. They're still playing solid baseball.
And not many people saw after 72 games that Tampa Bay would have a 1-game lead in the AL East.
No.
Coming into the season. Or that the Red Sox would be 31-40 and dead entrenched in last place in the East.
Well, that division, Baltimore is 4th. They're only 2.5 games out.
Yeah.
It's going to be a real dogfight going down the last half of the season in the Eastern Division. No balls and 2 strikes to Mitch. Moreland a ground ball to second, his first time up. 1-2. One, two. Mitch back in. Took an 0 for Sunday in Chicago. That unusual of late for him. He's hit safely in 13 of his last 15 ball games. Yeah, he hits this one on one big hop now to Sogard, who stays with it nicely. And that'll do it. So the Rangers, for the first time tonight, retired in order. We have finished 3 here at Globe Life Park. The Rangers won and the A's won on Fox Sports Southwest. Oh, 1-1 ball game. We head to the 4th, and before we do that, Chevron would like to tell you about tomorrow's starters for the A's. It'll be Kendall Graveman bringing in that 3-4 record with a 4.02, and for the Rangers, Wandy Rodriguez. He has been maybe the most pleasant surprise of the Rangers staff. 4-2 with a 3.20 ERA. 7 o'clock tomorrow, the middle game of this 3-game series. Beltre went to field it, and Chichi Gonzalez couldn't get out of the way quickly enough. Adrian either called him off late or Chichi didn't hear him until too late. That's going to go as a base hit. So Zobrist aboard. Got a little check swing bouncer.
I don't think either one of them is probably going to be able to make a play. I think it was if Chichi wasn't there right from the beginning, Adrian probably could have made the play, don't you think?
I think so. And I think that's one thing that Chichi will learn. If you got Beltre over there, get the heck out of the way immediately. Trust him.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not used to having a third baseman of that caliber.
No. Mark McLemore, in case you folks were wondering who else had joined us in the booth. Nice to have you along, Mac. A long time no see.
I know. Good to see. We're pretty close tonight, I see.
We are. We are. Yeah.
You got the memo? Nice.
It's a blue night. Reddick lines one to left and right at Gallo. Boy, standing his ground to haul it in. Reddick now twice has gone Gallo's way, and he's 0 for 2.
Things are looking good if we can get Reddick out twice in the same game.
Yeah, we talked about them in the pregame show, how much Reddick and Vogt and Canna have hurt the Rangers this year. Vogt and Canna aren't playing today, but Reddick is in the lineup, and he has definitely hurt the Rangers.
You got one out, Billy Butler, who is tailor-made for double plays. Takes pitch inside for ball 1. Our Kubota power stats. Talking about Chichi Gonzalez. Since his debut on May 30th, he's second in Major League Baseball with that 0.90 ERA. Opponents slugging at a robust 221. Third in opponents' average at 173. Eighth in innings pitched. And pitches per inning, 14.3. That's pretty good numbers. If you wonder what the standards should be, those are pretty close to the standards. And don't forget, this guy's just making his 5th Major League start in his career. And he's showing the older guys how to do it. 2-0 the count to Butler. Ben Zobrist, the runner at first base. 1 out here in the 4th. Not hit quite hard enough, I don't think. Odor's going to try it.
Whoa! Wow. I was right there with you, Buzz. I was thinking the same thing.
Now, the Rangers are going to stay on the field, and I think immediately that the call at first came under scrutiny by Billy Butler, among others. First base umpire Dan Iasonia. And we'll see if his call was accurate. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's probably going to get the reversal.
Yeah.
Still, I didn't think it could be that close either.
I think Billy Butler called out on reputation of being slow.
That might be our easiest one of the year right there, Matt.
That is got to be the easiest one. I don't know how you kind of missed that one. And actually, Odor had a pretty good chance. You know, the throw wasn't as hard as he normally throws because he was actually backing away, going toward left field, but was still able to get the throw off. But he's going the opposite way of the throw. So, yeah, great play. He uses second base to block for Zobrist, so Zobrist hits the bag and doesn't take him out. So great play for him.
No, it didn't take long for the folks back at the replay command center in New York to say, no, that's not going to stand. We're going to overturn that call. No, Bob Melvin got the call reversed, and there are 2 outs with Butler at first. Zobrist erased on the fielder's choice. 1 on, 2 out. Ike Davis, who grounded out to first, his first time, will step in. That took a grand total of 42 seconds to reverse that call. Davis had spent some time on the disabled list for the A's. They've had trouble fielding a representative lineup for about a month and a half. Had Zobrist out, had Ike Davis out, had Coco Crisp out the whole time. Bob Melvin able to mix and match as best as he possibly could. Sharply hit ball, but Beltre perfectly stationed between second and third. The flip to second, that will take care of the A's. No runs a hit, and 1 man left. A 10-pitch inning for Chichi Gonzalez after 3.5. We are tied at 1.
Special guest tonight. We have the National Wheelchair Games in town going on at the Dallas Convention Center, and we have some gold medalists. That's right. Mike, what did you win the gold medal in?
I won in the 800 meter on the track.
There we go, long distance guy. And Scott, what did you win in? Javelin and what?
Javelin and shot put.
There you go. And before the game, they were given their gold medals by Rangers coach Bobby Jones. But how about Robbie out of Fort Worth? You cleaned up. How many gold medals did you get?
I got 4.
And what events?
800, 200, 400, and 100.
There we go, Robbie. We got the sprinter down here, the marathon man right there. And down on the field before the game, you guys were honored and were handed out the gold medals. Congratulations, guys. Job well done. And the wheelchair games will continue to go on at the Dallas Convention Center through the weekend. And also free. So everybody can come out there and check that out. Buzz, I appreciate it.
All right, Nutsy, thank you. Impressive group of athletes. Something else. Well, Elvis Andrews starting off the Ranger fourth inning, a 1-1 ball game. Elvis doubled and scored the Ranger run back in the second. Elvis now with that hit, the average up to 238. And Chavez taking something off, gets a strike. 1-2 now. Two and two. Mac, when you and I were doing the games on the road, what we had heard from Adrian was not real positive. Were you a little shocked when you came to the ballpark today and found out he was in the starting lineup?
I was very shocked. Very shocked. I mean, we saw him over the weekend and we talked about it. And, I thought it would, it was going to be a little while longer. I mean, he was playing catch and taking some ground balls. We saw that, didn't get a chance to see him hit on the field. And it just looked okay, like, hey, he was going to have some more time. It definitely did not look like he was going to be in the lineup today.
No.
So, yes, I was very shocked, very surprised. And then on the other hand, not really all that surprised with Adrian, knowing him.
Yeah, exactly.
No rehab assignment because, hey, this guy's been around forever. He'll get his timing as quickly as possible. He doesn't need, to go anywhere for a week or 10 days or even 5 days. He'll figure it out, and he's going to be a presence in the lineup. So, on one hand, extremely shocked, and the other that, hey, he said he's ready to go. Not so much.
I kind of think, I was just thinking about this. I don't have anything to base it on. I kind of think somebody said to him, you can't get back in the lineup. And that did it.
Yeah.
I said, oh, yeah, I can.
Yeah, and watch me.
Yeah.
And be effective. He's not going to be just in there. He's going to be effective.
The folks, on Tuesday, August the 4th, the Rangers are hosting a special Fields of Fashion pregame event. And your ticket includes a pregame buffet in the Hall of Fame, a merchandise goodie bag worth $75, a Q&A section with Rangers' wives, a back-to-school fashion show, a ticket to the game against the Astros, and a whole lot more. Visit TexasRangers.com/fashion to learn more about it and get your tickets. Ryan Rua up there with the bases empty and 2 away. Rua called out on strikes. His first time up. He's the only strikeout so far tonight for either team. Both these pitchers throwing a lot of strikes and getting some weaker contact, but not a lot of strikeouts. And that's okay.
Hey, as long as you get outs, that's the bottom line. Get outs. 27.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Rua. Chavez back to Rua. There's a drive, well hit to left field. Going back and reaching up is Zobrist to take it off what would have been about 4 or 5 feet up the wall. But Zobrist a good jump and Rua a hard out. Rangers drawn in order. It's just an 11 pitch inning for Jesse Chavez. After 4, Rangers 1 and A's 1. Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by the Mazda 6. J.D. Power has awarded the Mazda 6 highest ranked vehicle appeal among mid-size cars. Chichi Gonzalez back out to the hill, a 1-1 ball game. He will face the bottom third of the A's order. Brett Lowry to be followed by Josh Phegley and Marcus Semien. Lowry gets sawed off. A little humpback looper out to Mitch Moreland, who on one hop takes the first for out number 1. Now our Ford leaderboard tonight showing you a pretty good streak that Rangers are in, allowing 3 or fewer runs, 7 straight ball games, and the Rangers show no signs of letting up on the gas on that one. Foul backing out of play. Chichi Gonzalez had a hand in that his last time out against the Dodgers. Lost a shutout in the 9th inning of that ball game. Justin Turner with a 2-run home run, and that was just about it. Rangers walked that game off with a win.
Yeah, that was a shame for Chichi. Gave up. That's the only home run he's given up in 34 innings, and it tied the game. Took a shutout away.
That ball was well hit to left center field. Going back, Leonis Martin at the wall. That ball's gone. No sooner had you gotten it out of your mouth, Tom, than number 2 left the ballpark.
That's pretty amazing.
Josh Phegley driving one into the A's bullpen, and Oakland now has a 2-1 lead.
Phegley's got some pretty good power if he can reach down and hit that ball 405 or 10 feet. He knew he hit it well off the bat when you saw Leonis turn his back and start running after it.
Well, Phegley with his 4th home run of the year. And now Marcus Semien takes strike 1. Chichi with that natural cut fastball that he throws in his 4-seamer. There's a base hit to right for Semien, who's now 2 for 2. The cutter's kind of like a slider. You don't get it out away from a right-handed hitter. It's going to be pretty much in the middle of the plate. .405 feet on that Phegley home run. And Semien following up with a base hit, so he's at first. Still just 1 out. And the top of the order now for the 3rd time tonight. Billy Burns steps in. Burns 1 out of 2. A's now with 6 hits. Burns had that 11-pitch at bat that started the ball game tonight and tapped back to the mound on the 11th pitch. Last time up, sliced a little line drive into left field for a base hit. Chichi Gonzalez going to work on Marcus Semien over there. Now Gonzalez set. 1 ball, no strikes. Burns, of course, with a blazing speed at the plate. He is the team leader in stolen bases with 15. Semien is second with 7. A bunt right back to the mound. Gonzalez to second. They get the sliding Semien. And Burns safely aboard with what was going to be a bunt for a base hit. And he just bunted it right back to the mound.
You know, I like how Chichi fields his position. This guy comes off the mound. We saw the play last inning where he went after the ball that was Beltre's ball. But Chichi just looks like to me he's a good fielder, and he wants that baseball. If it's in his area, he's coming off that hill, and he's going after it. Very nice play. He came up. He knew who was going to be covering second base.
Yep.
And threw Elvis a strike.
Well, with Chi fielding his position and Adrian playing in, that was going to have to be a perfect bunt for Burns to be able to beat it out. And it was. They get the lead runner.
Burns at first now with 2 away. Here's Eric Sogard and takes strike 1. Sogard drove home the first Oakland run back in the 3rd inning. His 19th run driven in this year. And I would imagine you'd see Burns trying to take off on one of the next couple of pitches. Burns 15 out of 18. And Chichi going to do as good a job as he can of slowing down the speedster. Second in the American League is Billy Burns, right behind Jose Altuve. Brett Gardner also with 15. One ball and 1 strike. Robinson Chirinos, given the opportunity, has been throwing out runners pretty consistently over the last couple of years. And Chichi trying to make sure he has an opportunity if Burns decides to take off for second. Robinson setting that target outside. Burns staying put. 2 balls and a strike.
As long as Chi gets the ball to Chirinos, I think he's got an excellent chance to throw anybody out. And that's really always the key, or typically the key is stealing off the pitcher. Depending on the catcher. There are some catchers that doesn't matter what the pitcher does. They're not going to be able to get you, but Robbie's not one of those guys. You get the ball to him quickly, he's got a real good shot to throw anybody out.
Yeah, the guy that you do Rangers Live with was one of those people that you could throw the ball underhand, make it a slow pitch softball, and you still throw somebody out.
It was great being on the other end. That fella right there, who looks like he's about to go to sleep. It was great being on the other end of those throws, knowing he would literally change games. He would shut down a running game.
Yeah,
I remember being playing against him. We'd come to town and we'd have to see, okay, who's pitching? Is it a guy who's going to kick the moon with his windup? That would be the only chance we had to steal a base.
Yeah. Bud Rodriguez, the best I ever saw. At doing that.
I'll tell you, I absolutely loved it. And then when I left here, it was it was a letdown with anybody else throwing a ball to second base for me.
Hard hit ball, but right into Mitch Moreland's glove. He'll take it to first himself, and that'll do it. The A's are out, but Josh Fagley gives the A's the lead as he hits his 4th home run of the year into the A's bullpen. On to the bottom of the 5th inning. 2-1 Oakland. The tragic news over the weekend that former Major Leaguer Darryl Hamilton passed away, and folks around baseball, in and out of baseball, a tragic loss, a sorely felt loss of a great guy. And Mac, I know you played with Darryl here in 1996, the first Ranger postseason team, and it's got to be a big loss for you too.
Definitely. Known him for an awfully long time, ever since he got to the big leagues with Milwaukee. And from that first day, it was a guy that never changed. He was the same way the day I met him to the last time I saw him, which was last year. Got a chance to speak with him a couple of months ago. And just a great guy. I mean, a great baseball player, but more than that for me, just the person he was. I mean, just a genuine person. He was nice to everybody, didn't treat anybody differently. It didn't matter if the guy was, you know, a seasoned veteran or a guy in the big leagues for the first day. Always had a smile on his face. Loved to joke and play and have fun. He'd rib everybody, and he could take it too. So it's just such a huge loss, and you know, not just for the baseball world, but obviously for his family and all of his friends outside of the baseball world. It's definitely a blow, and he's definitely going to be missed by everybody.
Yeah, not only a fine baseball player and a gentleman too, from my experience with him, but a guy that really turned into a great broadcaster. Had that love for the game that came across when he was describing or giving analysis of baseball. You felt the warmth that he felt about the game, and that's a trait that not everybody is gifted with, and he certainly had that. You know, Darryl Hamilton, we are all going to miss. Rougned Odor to deep right field. Way back is Reddick. Goodbye. First pitch to Odor, and he turns the game around. The Rangers lead it 3-2.
Ruby went down to AAA and hit about 350. And since he came back, he's 9 for 18. He's hitting 500. Got a single, a double, and a home run in 5 innings. Wow. That'll teach you to send me down. That's what you're missing.
Yeah, he has 3 legs of the cycle now, just a triple shy.
Chavez hasn't made a lot of mistakes today, but he's gotten 3 balls up to Odor and given up 3 hits to him.
And Gallo ripped one over the head of the first baseman Davis down the right field line. Joey going for 2. The throw by Reddick, not in time. Gallo with a double.
Pretty good hustle by the big guy, showing a little bit of speed too. Usually those big middle of the order guys aren't the kind of guys that stretch a single into a double. And Reddick is an excellent outfielder with a strong arm. He challenged him and barely beat the throw to second base. Reddick has quite a ways to go toward the line to get it. Joey knows he's got to get there quickly, and he just made it.
Well, Gallo gets himself into scoring position with nobody out, and Prince Fielder shoots one out of play down the left side.
Well, coming into this game, Chavez had only given up 4 home runs himself. And here's look at Joey busting it out of the box, which it's a good thing he did because he needed every bit of it to get to second base. Mentioned that Chichi had only given up one home run coming into the game, but he'd only thrown 30 innings. Chavez came into the game with 78 innings. He'd only given up 4 home runs.
That fielder drives one to right. Reddick came in. It's over his head. One hopping off the wall. Gallo to third will stop there. Into second with a 3-point landing is Prince Fielder. Look at the big guy.
Rolling. The big fella's in the middle of the order, showing some speed.
Mentioned that Reddick's a very good outfielder, which he is. But this was not a very good play. And look, the way he played the ball, like he was pretty sure he was going to catch it. The ball carried right over his head. 4 straight hits for the Rangers. 2 doubles, a home run, and a single. Pitch is way inside. Prince muscled it. Looked like it was going to be a play that Reddick was going to catch.
Yeah, he took that first hard step in, and that was all it took right there.
Yeah. Normally a very steady guy in the outfield. That one fooled him.
I love seeing him go head first. I love it.
Somebody had said, I got in front of Joey Gallo for the tag. I'm not getting in front of the Prince. No chance.
He'd be out there on that scoreboard left.
Prince is going to get all over Gallo, too. How can he not score on a double from second? What's going on?
I think, did Joey go back to tag up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he thought he was going to catch it.
Well, Prince thought he was going to catch it, too, because when he hit it, he kind of just stood there.
Yeah, he didn't get all of it, but he got enough of it.
I kind of meant he's going to get on him in kangaroo court.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So back-to-back doubles following the single and the home run. Rangers with 4 consecutive runners reaching base, and here's Adrian Beltre to keep it going. 0-2 now. We get a look at Rougned Odor's line drive home run that got all this started.
Nice.
374 feet on that line drive. And Beltre hits one well to center. That's going to be deep enough to score Gallo. Burns makes the catch. Gallo tags. Fielder is tagging also. The throw comes into third. Gallo scores. Fielder takes the extra base. Gets himself to third with 1 out.
Lowry wasn't getting in front of that slide either, boy. He was playing that off to the side for sure.
Oh, hey, Beasley was too in case he slid through the bag. So nobody's getting in the fielder's way.
Great job by Adrian. Pick up the run, hit it deep enough to move the guy from second to third. Watch Prince come into third. You see Lowry, he's not going to play right on top of the bag either, boy. And I don't blame him.
I will tag you from the side, big fella.
Well, it's a 3-run inning. The Rangers have a 4-2 lead. And now Mitch Moreland with a chance. The infield drawn in. And Mitch takes a strike on the tailing fastball. Moreland, a couple of ground balls to second base. And Mitch, who was 0 for 5 Sunday, 0 for 2 here tonight. Chavez working from a stretch. And misses inside. That evens the count. Moreland a .291 average, and he has been successful a little better than 50% of the time getting that runner home. It's in the dirt. 2-1. The Rangers here in the 5th able to get to Chavez. Robinson Chirinos started with a base hit to left. Then Odor lined his second home run of the year to right field. Joey Gallo, a hustling double. And then Prince Fielder, a double over the head of Reddick. Sacrifice fly by Beltre. Off the end of the bat, shot out of play by Moreland. It's 2-2. The Rangers 4 runs on 7 hits now. Rougned Odor with his second home run, a 2-run shot, got this inning underway. Chavez back to the plate. And the count is full. Well, Mitch hitting 5th in the order tonight. He'll be followed by the Rangers shortstop, Elvis Andrus. Jesse Chavez sneaking up on the 90 pitch mark here tonight. His next one will be 88. The payoff pitch coming to Mitch. Got him swinging. Doing the changeup on 3-2, and Moreland down swinging for the second out. And here comes Elvis. And before Elvis steps in, let's send it back over to Dana Larson for a Mazda game break. All right, Dana, thank you. Elvis takes that first pitch low and Fagley able to block it. It is 1 ball and no strikes. Elvis doubled right down the third baseline his first time up. came around to score on a pass ball in that Rangers second inning. Trying to get Fielder home from third here. Up the middle, off the foot of Chavez. It's going to go for a base hit, and Fielder will score to make it a 5-2 Ranger lead. How about good fortune smiling on the Rangers in this inning? Primarily because they're making their good fortune.
I love it. I love it. Hey, they're coming up with big hits when they need them. Runners in scoring position. They're taking advantage of anything that they possibly can. That's how you win ball games.
It's going to be a tough play. It looked like Sogard might have been able to get to it, Mac. I don't know if he could have thrown him out on that or not. What do you think?
I don't think he would have been able to. I think Simeon might have had a better chance of getting it, but he still had a long way to go.
Yeah.
So even if either one of them caught it, throwing Elvis out, I don't know if that was going to be possible.
And luckily, after it hit the foot, it bounced so high, there was still no time to get him. It's an RBI single.
Well, the Rangers, and I say they had good luck smiling on them because they have hustled this inning. They have run everything out. They have taken the extra base when possible. And when you do that, more often than not, the breaks seem to go your way. It's that old deal about the harder you work, the luckier you get. And I think that's very true. Call it making your luck or whatever you want to call it, but it's the proper way to go about playing the game.
Yeah, it really isn't. To me, they just look like a fresh ball club today, Buzz.
Yeah.
After seeing them, this last road trip, 4 very, very tough pitchers they had to face, and I think that's more of a mental drain than a physical drain. So having the day off yesterday, I think they got, they had some time to recharge.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And not to mention getting in, as you guys know, I wouldn't exactly know what I'm talking about, but get in at 7:15 in the morning. Right. Play a night game and then have to come back and play a day game. That's a pretty tough stretch.
It was tough.
I was really thinking about you guys and you'll have to go through that.
I'll bet you were. Yeah.
Poor Mac, poor Buzz.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Leonis turns on that high off-speed pitch and pulls it foul. Yeah, we were thinking about you too, Tom. I can't really tell you.
Not quite the same way, though.
Well, I can't tell you what we were calling you, but
cannot express how we felt.
Yeah, oh, man. Wouldn't dare express. Evan Scribner, by the way, up and throwing in the A's pen. Yeah, as we were fighting rush hour traffic coming in from O'Hare Airport.
Man,
that takes a lot out of you.
It does.
And the guys coming back here and playing well tonight. Popped up third base side. That'll be back into the seats. And it's still 0-2. Elvis back to first. He was off and moving with that last pitch.
I guess the bad thing about it really was we didn't have to go play.
Yeah.
We retired, So I can't imagine what those guys, felt like. And I can't remember ever getting in that late as a player. Mm-hmm. Not, 7:30 in the morning. I can't remember it. We had some fives.
I don't know if you were on the team the year we went to Toronto after a night game and got caught in rush hour traffic. We pulled in at, I don't know what it was, 7:30, 8 o'clock, and I can remember going right straight into the restaurant and having breakfast. I'm not sure if you were on the team then or not. That's the only time I can remember getting in like that.
Oh, 0-2 to Leonis Martin, who is 0 for 2 tonight. Grounded out to second base a couple times. Elvis lead at first. Got a pitch out, nothing going.
Nice read by Elvis. It looks as though he figured, hey, they were going to pitch out. It was a good count to pitch out on, so he didn't even take his maximum lead. He wasn't in that stealing position at the time. He made the right call.
Yeah, he'll get out there and look in, to peek in every once in a while, see if he can pick up a sign.
Oh yeah.
Could you pick up a pitch out sign?
Absolutely.
Down there.
But and typically what I try to do, obviously the older I got and in the league longer, I was able to figure out the patterns of certain managers. Mm-hmm. And I just got a feel for them and what they were thinking, what they were wanting to do. So that's usually how I picked them up. But I was always looking for signs. More times than not, I picked them up. I love doing that.
The count has gone full. Bob Melvin, I think, just about ready to pull the trigger. And Jesse Chavez, 26 pitches in this inning alone. He's up to nearly 100 pitches for the night. 3-2. Elvis on the move. The payoff pitch got him swinging. So that'll do it for the Rangers here in the 5th. But they score 4 and they take the lead as Rougned Odor got it all started with a 2-run shot. 5-2 Rangers. Mac, thanks for joining us. We'll see you after the ballgame on Rangers Live. All right. Rangers continue this 3-game set against the Oakland A's. And so head on out to Globe Life Park for some summer fun and enjoy the ballpark hot dogs for just $1 each. Visit TexasRangers.com for tickets, or you can call 972-RANGERS. Chichi Gonzalez back out to the hill for the 6th inning. He now is sporting a 3-run advantage. It is 5-2 Texas. Ben Zobrist, who began the 4th with an infield single, starts off the 6th. And the pitch outside, 2 balls, no strikes. Zobrist now at 246. Switch hitter. Brought in kind of a revamping by Billy Beane as always in the offseason. Seems like Billy Beane's doing something to change things around, but brought in Zobrist to kind of pep up the offense a bit, give him some versatility also. Zobrist, of course, infielder, outfielder, DH, and virtually play any place. Ahead of the count here, 3 balls and a strike. Chichi has not walked anybody tonight. And he gets a pitch over at the knees. It's a full count. Zobrist leading things off, to be followed by the right fielder, Josh Reddick. Time called. Zobrist back in, and Gonzalez with a payoff pitch. Little chopper will go foul. Ty Waller, the first base coach, makes a new friend in the first row. Zobrist, of course, all the years with the Tampa Bay Rays. Guy that would hit anywhere from 1st to 7th, it seemed like, for Joe Madden's teams. Good on-base percentage always. Another 3-2. Outside, ball 4. Well, the leadoff walk, not something that you would expect from Chichi Gonzalez. 1 on, nobody out for Josh Reddick. And while we have a second here, let's go over and check in with Jim Knox. Jim?
All right, Buzz, roaming the stands, and I come across Kimberly. She comes from Wisconsin to see Prince, and believe it or not, she comes with her parents. She come all the way in from Wisconsin to watch Prince play. Why, Kimberly?
I've always been a big Prince Fielder fan. We've been following him everywhere. We've been to Detroit, and now we're here in Texas.
All right, so Chuck, when your daughter came to you, Kimberly, and said, I want to come watch Prince play in Texas, come with me, Mom and Dad, what'd you think?
Well, she said, let's go on vacation. I said, it must be Arlington this year to see Prince Fielder.
Joan, you're making a vacation out of it. What's next after the ballpark here?
Tomorrow's up in the air. We don't know. We may be back.
Suggestions. How about Billy Bob's in Fort Worth? I don't know. What else is there to do? Chuck, you look stunned over there. Okay. All right. Well, how about another game tomorrow night, huh? And then one on Thursday afternoon. That's good enough. All right, guys. We'll let you root Prince on in the Rangers as well. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah, good day, mate, up here.
Moxley, they got you figured out. They got that good day mate down. Chichi Gonzalez missing high and away to Reddick, and the count goes to 2-1. Reddick twice has hit the ball to left field. More or less line drives each time. This last time up was a very solid line drive, but he hit it right at Joey Gallo. Zobrist at first, taking a modest lead. And this one popped up shallow left center, going out. Long run out for Elvis, and he makes the catch. Back to first goes Zobrist. There's one away.
And that's a big out right there after the leadoff walk. You don't want the A's to get anything going, get a little momentum, get a rally going. Leadoff walk to Zobrist, and then get Reddick, fourth place hitter, on a little pop-up. That's a good out right there. Maybe turn a double play and turn it into a quick inning.
So Elvis talking to Leonis and Joey Gallo out there. Had to go a long way out, and we saw a play the other day on the road trip where Elvis went out even further than that, and I believe it was Leonis in that instance, and I think it was Ryan Rua in that game. Kind of became spectators, and Elvis kind of gave him what for about having to go out that far. Yeah, Chichi Gonzalez on the first pitch to Billy Butler drills him in the left elbow.
Yeah, that's definitely not what he was trying to do right there.
No.
Obviously, he's trying to get it in, jam him, get a little weak ground ball. And one of the few times where the ball's gotten away from Chichi, and he's been unable to do that. Get the fastball in, he's got it too far in.
Billy Butler, a quick little glance out to Chichi Gonzalez to say, did you really need to do that?
I think your first reaction is it hurts, you're mad, and then when you have a chance to think, you say, well, there's no way he was going to try to hit me there.
Yeah.
But your initial reaction is exactly what you said. That hurts, and you wonder if it was on purpose.
Well, I don't think there's anybody that likes getting hit by the ball. I mean, that
makes you mad.
Yeah.
And it hurts.
So Mike Maddox out to try and settle things down just a bit. A walk, then one out later, the hit batter. Ike Davis coming up. And Davis 0 for 2 with a couple of ground balls tonight. Rangers will go into a modified overshift with Davis. Elvis Andrus just a step on the first base side of second. Davis a .270 average. And a check swing, the pitch just outside for ball one. Ike Davis, another guy brought in the offseason by Billy Beane to try and add a little bit of offensive might. Last year, Davis spent time with the Mets and with the Pirates over the National League. He had 11 home runs in 143 games last year. Split between the two teams.
This is one of the few times where you've noticed over 3 or 4 at-bats where Chichi has struggled with his command. Generally, he's pinpoint with his command, but a walk, a hit batter, and now 3-0 to Ike Davis. And one of the few times in his 5 starts where he has really struggled with his command.
Yeah, the only other time I can remember is his first start. When he was overamped, according to him.
Right.
And walked 5 in the 5 innings. And that's going to happen to anybody.
Sure.
But since then, I agree with you. There hasn't been a time that we've seen him have trouble for more than 4 or 5 pitches at a time. Gets one down the middle there to make it 3-1 to Davis. And of course, with a 3-run lead, you have the hitter at the plate representing the tying run. You can't just rear back and throw it down the middle and say, here, hit it. Because Davis might just do that. Now the 3-1. Line drive to right center. That's in for a base hit. Coming around third is Zobrist. He will score. Going on to third. The throw into second and safe at second base. Ike Davis just under the tag of Elvis Andrus. On to third went Butler, and just like that, it's a 5-3 game, and the tying runs are in scoring position for Oakland.
It won't show up in the box score, obviously, but that was a great play by Martin. Martin had to sprint from left center field. He was playing Davis to go the other way into right center field, spun around and threw a one-hop strike to second base. Davis beat it out. Still a very nice play. Watch how far he has to go. The off-balance throw, and it's right there, but not quite in time.
That's a pretty good hustle by Ike Davis. Now Brett Lowry, the hitter, and he takes the one outside for ball one. For Oakland, pretty much a doubles hitting ball club with some home runs sprinkled in. 24 doubles in the last 9 ball games. 1 ball, no strikes. Lowry has twice grounded out tonight. Chichi gets that pitch in and over. It is 1-1. Now this is the first time in Chichi Gonzalez's young career that he has given up more than 2 runs in any outing. Trying to put a capper on it right here. 2 balls and a strike. Keone Kela up and throwing in that Ranger bullpen. Chichi now over 20 pitches for the inning. This next pitch will be his 21st. Right-hander sets. That fastball up and got it right on by Lowry. The advantage of being able to pinpoint down and away all the time. You get guys looking out there a little bit, and you sneak that fastball by him at will upstairs. Chirinos with a series of signs. Gonzalez set for the 2-2. Got him swinging.
Wow. Talk about a good time to get your first strikeout of the ball game. Second and third, rally going on. Get this out, keep it a 5-3 ball game. That'll be some kind of pitching right there. And Lowry has been a hot hitter too. They just threw the fastball by him.
Yep.
Lowry hit 229 in April, 295 in May. He's hitting 365 in June. He couldn't make any contact at a contact point in time right there.
Well, that is out number 2, and as Tom Doherty, the first strikeout of the night for Chichi Gonzalez. Now Josh Phegley, who homered into the left center field bullpen of the A's last time up. And he lines one to center. Martin started in, now breaks back, it's over his head, it's going to the wall. 2 runs will score into second with a 2-run double is Josh Phegley. And he has tied this ball game at 5.
Well, Phegley has just lit up the ball the last 2 times up. 405-foot home run. I think he hit that ball harder than he hit his home run. Just hit a line shot. One hop the center field wall. Well, for the first time, Chichi really struggles in an inning. One step in and it's all over as hard as that ball was hit.
So that is going to be the last pitch that Chichi Gonzalez throws tonight. He is gone after 5 2/3. He leaves the ball game tied, and a runner at second his responsibility. Keone Kela coming on. We'll take a timeout. We're back to Globe Life Park right after this. Rare weekday matinee this Thursday. Get to the ballpark early and enjoy a special wildlife education presentation from the Dallas Zoo. Visit TexasRangers.com for tickets or call 972 Rangers extension 3 for special pricing on groups of 20 or more. Well, Keone Kela, the 22-year-old right-hander, on now his 34th appearance of the year. The 33, fourth most in the American League. 4-4 mark. Yeah, time called very quickly. He's facing Marcus Semien. Semien 2 for 2 tonight with a pair of singles. Josh Phegley, the runner out at second base, representing the go-ahead run here in the 6th inning. And that pitch is low and inside. 2 balls, no strikes. We last saw Keone on Sunday in Chicago. Worked an inning and a third of scoreless, hitless baseball against the White Sox with a couple of strikeouts. 2-0 pitch coming. 3 balls, no strikes. Semien's the one that Keone wants to go after. You don't want to have a singles hitter up there, a good singles hitter. Billy Burns waits in the on-deck circle, a guy that's tough to strike out. A guy like him with a runner in scoring position to put the ball in play, it could be trouble. There's a strike, 3-1. Semien is single to right, single to center. Everything is even right now. 5 runs on 8 hits and no errors for both ball clubs. That was pulled foul down the left side. Semien hit it well, but it was well out of play also.
And Semien got off to a great start this year. First 42 games of the year, he's hitting well over 300. Last 29 games, he's been hitting under 200. But he's swinging the bat well tonight. He has a couple of hits and just ripped that ball foul. Got a little bit of power, too.
Yep. Kela with the 3-2 pitch. Line drive by Elvis into left center, a base hit. Around third is Phegley. He will score. Semien going to second. He is in standing with the RBI single. And the A's have taken a 6-5 lead.
Well, Rangers scored 4 in the bottom of the 5th. The A's have answered in the top of the 6th. Chichi got himself in trouble with a leadoff walk and a hit batter. Trying to throw it maybe a little bit more away than that, right near the center of the plate. And again, Semien came into the game hitting 188 in the last month, but he's hit the ball well 3 times in this ball game, including that double.
So now Semien in scoring position. And Billy Burns, waving at that fastball. It is 0-1. Semien his 14th double of the year. Hit that ball hard. Just out of the reach of Elvis. Nice job by Leonys Martin to cut that off. It could have been 3 bases or more if that ball gets by him. Burns now down to the count. No balls, 2 strikes. Well, that closes the book on Chichi Gonzalez tonight. 6 runs, all of them on his ledger. They were all earned. 8 hits, 1 walk, 1 strikeout in 5 2/3 innings. 0-2 pitch coming. Line drive right at Adrian Beltre. Accepts it gingerly into that glove of his, and that'll do it. But A's come up with 4 runs, and they leave a runner in the 6th. After 5.5, it's now 6-5 Oakland. the Sonic Slam inning, brought to you by Sonic. Tonight's jackpot is worth $1,300 and dinner for two at Sonic Drive-In. Tonight, the Rangers are hitting for Pam Pickrow and from Granbury, and if a Ranger hits a home run in the inning, she will win $1,300. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Pam is going to win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Well, Rangers now find themselves trailing by a run. It is 6-5 after the A's put 4 on the board in the top of the 6th inning. Ryan Rua, Robinson Chirinos, and Rougned Odor will face the new pitcher, and that is the right-hander Evan Scribner. So both starters out of the ball game. And Rua takes ball one. Scribner in his 35th ball game of the year. One more than Keone Kela. 2-1. The league hitting .243 against the right-hander.
Scribner has been one of the most effective A's bullpen pitchers. They haven't had a lot of success out of the bullpen. Scribner, though, has pitched 36 innings, 39 strikeouts, and 3 walks. And he's been outstanding for the A's. Used pretty frequently, too.
Check swing by Ryan Rua. It's a foul ball. And the count goes to 1-2. Eric O'Flaherty, the left-hander, up and loosening. So looks like Bob Melvin planning on, at least for the last 4 innings, if necessary, going out by out. A 1-run ball game. That's outside. You mentioned the prop thing, man. Go back to Sunday for Ryan Rua. Off of Jose Quintana, his first home run of the year, and that was a blast. 421 feet. Way up in the bleachers in left field at U.S. Cellular. Well, as we had mentioned, a dozen rehab games trying to get himself back in order, but I guess you never really know until you get back against Major League pitching how good your timing or how tough your timing is. Bangs this from the left center. On the run, Billy Burns in a dive comes up with it.
Nice play, but not quite the same plays he made against us out in Oakland.
Yeah.
That one kind of hung up there. I don't know if Ryan really got all of that ball, but you can see Burns covers a lot of ground. Started out in right center field, all the way to left center field, and makes a nice play.
I said a dive. I'm not sure that was a dive or a trip.
I think it was a it was a catch and a dive.
Okay.
The one in Oakland, he was all out flat to the ground when he robbed Delano of a double, triple, or whatever.
And he can definitely cover a lot of ground. There's no doubt about that. Chirinos takes that big overhand hook from Scribner in for a strike, and it's 0-2. Robinson aboard on both at bats tonight. He has walked and singled. Chirinos now at 207 with the average. Scribner back to him. And a little number foul. That is the look that our high third base camera Greg Schmidt has. It looks out over the field. That's a nice seat. Nice panoramic view of Globe Life Park. Here's Greg. Chopper to third. Lowry has it. 2 gone. Go back to the top of the Ranger order for Rougned Odor. And speaking of Rookie, how about our T-Mobile game changer tonight? Single, double, 2-run home run. Since the recall from AAA Round Rock, he is 9 for 18 with 7 RBI. This is 6th start. That's a pretty good production. Well, he needs a triple to get the cycle, and he needs an RBI to get the Rangers even. 0-1. facing Evan Scribner, the 29-year-old right-hander out of Connecticut.
Well, Rugi's got his average over 200. And that was no small feat, as low as it was a while back.
It's this one hard up the middle, but right there is Semien. He plays it well. And Odor is a hard out. The Rangers gone in order in the 6th. 3 up, 3 down. We'll move on to the 7th at Globe Life Park with the A's leading the Rangers 6-5. To Rougned Odor with the home run in the 5th inning, a 2-run blast. That turned the game around at that junction, got the Rangers on top. But Josh Bagley came back, his 4th home run of the year off Chichi Gonzalez. Into the bullpen in left center field. And then next time up, that man Bagley again. Over the head of Leonys Martin in center, a 2-run double. And it got the A's a 6-5 advantage. That's where we stand going to the 7th. Keone Kela dealing to Eric Sogard to start things. It'll be Sogard, Zobrist, and Reddick, the first 3 scheduled to face Keone Kela. Sogard 1 for 3 with an RBI tonight. 2 balls, no strikes. 6 runs on 9 hits for Oakland. 5 runs, 8 hits for the Rangers. Fastball is high, 3 balls and no strikes. Sogard 1 for 2 in the previous matchups with Keone Kela. Trying to get aboard to start this 7th inning off. He'll be followed by Ben Zobrist, the left fielder. And the pitch is low, ball 4.
Well, all of a sudden, last couple of innings, command has been an issue.
Keone with the 4-pitch walk. That is something you don't see from Kela very often.
No,
he may
you
walk
don't.
somebody, but normally it's deeper in the count. Sam Freeman, left-hander for the Rangers, up and ready in the bullpen. And you would think you look by the next hitter, Ben Zobrist, to Josh Reddick, when Freeman might be brought in. But Mike Maddox out to order up the double play ball. Telling Keone who's going to be covering second base, and the ball's hit back to him. So Ben Zobrist will step to the plate. Zobrist 1 for 2 with an infield single and a walk. He has scored once tonight. Rangers up the middle, playing up at double play depth, a step or 2 from normal depth, and maybe a step to the right for the left-handed hitting Zobrist. Kela missing outside. 1 ball and no strikes. Kind of get an idea of the problem there. Chirinos had the target set on the inner part of the plate, and that pitch off the plate outside. So Keone not able to get it anywhere near where he wants to at the moment. Zobrist has not had an at-bat against Keone Kellen. There's a strike at the knees, 1-1. Zobrist 246 with the average. Our Fox tracker showing you that last pitch nestling right down there in the low outside area of the strike zone. That one's off the plate. 2 balls and a strike.
Well, the A's in the last 8 games are averaging almost 7 runs per game. They're also hitting .390 with men in scoring position. We've seen a little bit of that tonight. They got some hits in the 6th inning. They've scored 6 runs tonight. So over the last week plus, they've been scoring a lot of runs.
Keone taking something off that. A little changeup, and he got this foul tip, 2-2. There's that per game mark you were talking about, Tom. 6.75 runs per game since the 14th of June.
They kind of turned their season around. At one time, they were 14-30. Since that time, they've gone 17-11. They've been playing some pretty good baseball.
And Zobrist drives one to deep right center field. Going back is Rua at the wall. That ball's in the Ranger bullpen. A 2-run home run for Ben Zobrist, and it opens up an 8-5 Oakland lead.
Boy, a couple of big innings. The Rangers scored 4 in the 5th to take a 5-2 lead, and it looked pretty good with Chichi on the mound, but then he struggled with his command. The A's got back in the game, and now they've taken a big lead. That was a high fastball. I don't think that was even a strike. That looked like up and out of the strike zone. Zobrist just hammered it into the Ranger bullpen.
So Jeff Bannister summoning Sam Freeman from the bullpen after this pitch was hit out of the ballpark.
Well, it was a strike, but right at the top of the strike zone. Zobrist has been hot himself. Over 400 in the last 8 games.
So, pitching change again underway here at Globe Life Park. We'll tell you about Sam Freeman when we come back after this break. 8-5 Oakland on Fox Sports Southwest. Ballot right now. Just visit TexasRangers.com/vote and vote for the Rangers as your favorite or second favorite team, and you'll get an offer for 50% off select games in August or September. Head to the web and send Fielder, Moreland, and Beltray to the All-Star game. But hurry, voting ends on July 2nd. Sam Freeman, the 27-year-old left-hander, his 17th appearance of the year, a 5.91 ERA. facing Josh Reddick. I remember giving you all the numbers about Josh Reddick and his utility against left-handed pitching the last time we had this matchup in Oakland, and he promptly singled off of San Freeman, so I won't bother. Apparently it doesn't apply to this matchup. Hard hit to right. That is going to be down in front of Ryan Rua for a base hit.
You know, I think the key in both situations, Buzz, was the fact that he was ahead in the count, 2-0.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's a good hitter. He's a good fastball hitter. He looked for a fastball, and both times got a fastball in the zone. Hit it almost the same way in Oakland that he hit this one. 2-0, looking fastball. Yeah, put a good swing on it. Get ahead in the count. 0-2, 1-2, and chances are he doesn't have quite the same swing.
Yeah, just because a major league hitter doesn't have good numbers against a particular pitcher or type of pitcher, that doesn't mean that he's never going to get a hit.
No.
Beltre fielding that ball just in fair territory. He's able to get Billy Butler at first, but down to second goes Josh Reddick. Ball not hit sharply enough for Beltre to have a chance to start a double play. Well, Butler retired for out number 1, and Ike Davis will be next. Sam Freeman, who went to Hebron High School in Carrollton. His last couple of years of college baseball at the University of Kansas. Sam, a belt high set, and the pitch to Davis. 0-1.
And Davis is another guy that's really struggled against left-handed pitching. A lot of his career, some of his career, he's been platooned, hasn't even faced left-handers.
Reddick at second. You see the A's have been pretty good with runners in scoring position this year. 271. It's about 12 points higher than their overall batting average. I think you would consider that fairly successful, wouldn't you? About 10 or 12 points higher than what you hit overall.
Yeah.
You're able to pump it up a little bit when somebody's in scoring position.
Yeah.
Oh, 0-2 to Davis. Got him swinging.
This is the difference. You get ahead, lefty versus lefty, and you're able to throw that slider. And it's a little bit different than when the hitter is locked into a fastball and gets a good fastball to hit.
Ike Davis looks like, I don't even want to bother. If it's a fastball and I can get the bat to it, that's fine. But no, it's got to feel kind of like a wasted at bat for him.
Yeah, you just a little bit overmatched when you're behind in the count, facing that big, hard breaking ball. You know, you look back at the at bat, he got a fastball, he pulled it foul. Maybe you say to yourself, well, I got one pitch to hit. That's the one I should have hit. So I didn't have to face that pitch with it, try to hit that slider.
2-0 now, the count to Brett Lowry. Lowry 0 for 3 tonight. A couple of ground outs and a strikeout. Saw Sam Freeman last on Sunday in Chicago. Worked the third of an inning. Gave up a hit but had a strikeout. Elvis charging. And on the run throws out Brett Lowry. That'll do it, but A's come up with 2 runs on 2 hits and lead 1. We'll take the stretch at Globe Life Park. The A's lead the Rangers 8-5. ticket includes exciting Rangers baseball and a Texas Rangers cap in your school's colors. The first 1,000 fans at the ballpark who purchased a TCU University Day ticket will receive a special TCU-themed Rangers cap. Visit TexasRangers.com/UDays to get your tickets and see a lineup of all University Days this season. Now the Rangers come to bat here in the bottom of the 7th inning, and they will be facing Eric O'Flaherty, the 30-year-old left-hander out of Washington. O'Flaherty to face Joey Gallo to start things off, and misses outside for ball 1. The numbers for O'Flaherty. This is 13th ball game. 0-2 with an ERA of 9. 354 the league has hit against the left-hander. Joey Gallo 1 for 3 with a double and a run scored tonight. This pop foul back behind home plate and out of play. Gallo hitting .227. Interesting to watch Joey Gallo, kind of the ups and downs of every major leaguer has, and I think you kind of folks kind of put him under a microscope anyway. And the highs have been extremely high and the lows have been extremely low from one game to the next, and Joey seems to have been able to kind of moderate everything for himself. He doesn't seem to get too high or too low, and that's the ideal way to do it. But having the same struggles that virtually everybody does when they come to the big leagues. 2-2. Moved around in the order, as we mentioned, hitting anywhere from 2nd down to 6th, even 7th at one time. Everywhere in between. O'Flaherty ready, and the 2-2 pitch. Good job to check his swing.
Pitch to lay off of right there. 2-2 pitch, almost a strike. Lay off that one from a left-hander, you're a little bit ahead of the game.
Prince Fielder waiting in the on-deck circle. Payoff pitch. Got him swinging. The fastball up and in, and that is the bane of a lot of major league hitters, no matter how experienced they are.
Well, that was a good pitch. Joey had a couple of fastballs earlier in the count that he fouled off, and then O'Flaherty runs that fastball in with some pretty good movement, perfect part of the strike zone, and Joey couldn't quite make some contact with it.
Now Prince Fielder will step in. Prince a double in 2 official at bats. He's also walked tonight. Fielder 1 for 8 in his career against O'Flaherty. Takes one down the middle. It is 1-1. And there are the folks that Jim Knox talked to from Wisconsin, the big Prince Fielder fans, hoping that Prince can connect for them. He hits it hard, but right at the second baseman Sogard in shallow right field. That's out number 2. And before Adrian Beltre comes up, let's send it over to Dana Larson for a Mazda game break. All right, Dana, thank you. Adrian Beltre up for his 4th plate appearance tonight. Beltre 0 for 2 with a couple of groundouts. He also has a sacrifice fly, driving home his 19th run of the year. Adrian, in case you joined us a little bit late in the lineup today, unexpectedly for a lot of us, but getting the opportunity just to get back in there and pronounce himself fit enough. And Jeff Madison said, "You're in. You're my third baseman." And here's Adrian again. part of the padding you can see that has been added to Adrian's bat to kind of cushion that left hand. He sprained a ligament in that left thumb. Two and one the count to him. That one chopped down on his left foot. Well, Adrian will walk that one off a bit. Well, now he's ready to go. He's done everything. He's gotten back in the lineup, and he hit the ball solidly a couple times. Hit one off his front foot. Now he's done everything he needs to do. 100% ready to go. O'Flaherty back to it. Deep behind the bag at third. Long throw is wide. And Beltre thought about going to second. And fortunately, nobody was at first. He had Fagley, the catcher, kind of backing things up. And Adrian running the great circle route after he went by the bag.
That was a beautiful pickup by Lowry on a tricky hop. Ball that was hit fairly hard. Got rid of it quickly and just couldn't make an accurate throw. Nice pickup, tough throw. Watch the backhand. Plant's strong throw, a little bit too high. Would have had him with a perfect throw. Might be an infield single. Tough play.
Yeah, Steve Weller's going to rule that an E5. Figuring that, I guess once Lowry got the ball, that a good throw, as you mentioned, Tom, probably would have gotten
Probably would have gotten it.
So Beltre aboard with 2 outs, and Mitch Moreland up.
Didn't have a lot, a really tough hop, long throw. Didn't have much time to get it over there, so he had to throw it quickly. Pretty tough play.
And Mitch Moreland chops one foul at the plate. It is 0-2. Mitch 0 for 3 tonight. A couple of ground outs and a strikeout. Rangers trailing 8-5. Moreland facing Eric O'Flaherty here in the 7th inning. Left-hander checks Beltre at first. And Moreland a shot by the dive of Sogard. Beltre around second will head into third. And Moreland with his first hit of the night. The Rangers have runners at the corners. And 2 outs for Elvis Andrews.
The Rangers have hit some hard balls into the shift. Fortunately, that one took a hop over Sogard. Sogard's a good second baseman, and he's flagged all of them down. Wasn't able to get that one, though.
And that's going to do it for O'Flaherty as Bob Melvin out to the mound, and he said, I want the right-hander, Fernando Rodriguez, to come in from the bullpen. So O'Flaherty finished. He leaves with runners at first and third. Rangers trailing by 3, but they have the tying run coming to the plate. We'll take a timeout. We are back right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. 8-5. Fernando Rodriguez, the 31-year-old right-hander, has come into the ball game. He will be facing Elvis Andrus with runners at first and third. The numbers on Fernando Rodriguez. This is 19th game. He's been on a pretty good roller coaster. Up, down, and some success against the Rangers. He has not had much success. He'll be facing Elvis, who has had kind of an interesting night. Double right down the third baseline. That was in the second inning and came around to score the first Ranger run. And then the next time up, Jesse Chavez. Chavez, a skate save and went straight up in the air, and Elvis got an infield single and an RBI. So now in another run-producing opportunity with runners at first and third and 2 away. Elvis 2 out of 3, an RBI count, now up to 25. Going after that first fastball from Rodriguez. It is strike 1. Elvis 0 for 4 in his career against Fernando Rodriguez. Rangers tonight 2 out of 7 with runners in scoring position. We got Beltre over at third here in the 7th. Mitch Moreland over at first. See the season numbers, 247 for Ranger hitters. Fernando Rodriguez, a Texas native. He's from El Paso. Spent some time with the Astros, with the Angels. One ball and 1 strike. Rangers coming into play tonight, 6th in the American League in runs scored. And now up their total to 311 this year. And Elvis lines one to the gap in right center. It is between the outfielders and to the wall. Beltre scores. Stopping at third is Moreland. Elvis Andrus with his 3rd hit of the night. It's an 8-6 A's lead. The Rangers have the tying runs in scoring position.
Rangers trying to take advantage of what has been ruled an error on Adrian's ball to prolong the inning. Single, double. And the Rangers are 1 hit away getting right back in this game. Breaking ball down and away. Elvis does a nice job of staying with it and driving it into the gap. So used to seeing Burns run these balls down. Fortunately, that one was hit hard enough, slicing away from him enough, and he couldn't get to it.
Well, 2nd and 3rd now, and Kurt Young, the pitching coach for the A's, out to have a chat with Fernando Rodriguez and the entire infield. Rodriguez mentioned some success of late, but not much against the Rangers in his career. He's worked 7 1/3 innings against Texas. He has an 8.59 ERA, giving up 6 hits and 7 runs. Drops a breaking ball into Leonis Martin for strike 1. Martin tonight 0 for 3, 2 ground outs and a strikeout. Martin hitting .273 in these situations. Runners in scoring position. Now 0-2. .235 Martin's average overall. Got Moreland at third, Andrus at second. 2 outs in the Rangers' 7th inning. In the infield for the A's, a step or 2 to the right. 0-2 pitch. Pulled on the ground to Sogard. And that will do it. Rangers come back to get a run. A run on 2 hits and an error. They strand 2. We'll move on to the 8th inning. It's now the A's 8 and the Rangers 6 on Fox Sports Southwest.
game. It has to be Lucas and Tabitha. 4 years ago, they come to a Ranger game for the first time. They come all the way in from Holland, believe it or not. Became a Ranger fan because of your cousin 12 years ago. And now you follow the Rangers on what, MLB?
MLB TV, that's right, yeah.
And this is big happiness because this is your honeymoon?
Yes, sir.
You finally tied the knot after 6 years of dating Tabitha. And you can't ask for a better place than right here at Globe Life Park. Right, Tabitha? Yeah, you like that? Well, congratulations. Here's the bag. What's on next on the honeymoon schedule?
First, another 2 games for the Rangers against Oakland.
There we go.
And then we go up to Phoenix, Grand Canyon, Vegas, and California.
Oh, big spender here. Way to go. Congratulations.
Thanks, man.
There you go. Congratulations. And good day, mate.
Thanks.
There we go.
Nice going, Doxy. Well, Anthony Bass has come out of the Ranger bullpen to take over, facing Josh Fagley to start off the 8th inning for Oakland. An 8-6 Oakland lead. Rangers cutting into that deficit by 1. Anthony Bass, it's been a while since we've seen the right-hander. This is his 19th appearance. He hasn't been out there since the 13th of the month against Minnesota Twins here. Pretty good tailing fastball. And that's one of the areas that, boy, it's tough for a long reliever. You get work. If you don't get work, it usually means the ball club the starters have been going deeper into ball games. And if you do get work, it means there's problems.
And it's tough to give a long reliever work and let him throw 20 or 25 pitches to stay sharp, because you might need him the next day to throw 3, 4, or 5 innings, depending on what happened in the game. Tough balancing act for a manager.
Fagley, a big night. He is homered and doubled, driven in 3 runs. And he is gone here, however. He adds a strikeout to his resume tonight. 1 gone for Marcus Semien.
Well, Fagley did a couple of balls hard off Chichi, a home run and a double. Couldn't lay off that hard slider down a little bit out of the strike zone, however.
Good look at that unsuccessful check swing attempt. A 1 gone, and another hot A's hitter tonight. Marcus Semien is 3 for 3. He had 2 singles, a double. He has scored a run. He has driven in a run. All this from the 9th spot in the A's order.
Anthony's well rested and strong. He popped that last fastball at 95.
That one's just a little bit low. 1-1. Anthony, been 10 days since his last appearance, and that appearance was 10 days since the one before. Well, he's really had some long dry spells in between. This is his 4th appearance in the month of June. That he appeared in the game in the second and the game in the 3rd, and then it's been spaced out every 10 days. He is very adept at what he does. He's always been sharp coming into ball games, and it's not always easy to do. 2-2. Bass to the wind, back to the plate he comes. Full count. Semien hitting that 9th spot. He's trying to get aboard or the top of the order, and that means Billy Burns. Payoff pitch. We'll try it again. Oakland 8 runs on 11 hits tonight. Rangers 6 runs on 10 hits. A's have committed the only miscue. A's still last in the American League in fielding, although it's gotten a little bit better of late. Another 3-2 pitch and another foul ball. Semien, the everyday shortstop for the A's, coming over from the Chicago White Sox. He played almost all year last year, AAA. And that pitch fouled straight down. Semien back in there. Anthony Bass reading the signs. Another 3-2 pitch. Call strike 3. And a pitch on the inside corner, a front door strike to Marcus Semien. Back-to-back punch-outs. Our AT&T U-verse rewind take you back to Oakland on June 11th. Billy Burns laying out completely horizontal, taking extra bases away from the Rangers. Same game, different spot against the wall this time. And then tonight, he has been all over the place. This one off the bat of Ryan Rua. And Billy Burns has, I think, has made believers out of us about how much ground he can cover out there.
Yeah, he's fast. He gets a good jump. Plays a nice center field, and he's been hot, too. He's hitting 13 straight games, hitting around 375. Hitting 24 of his last 25 games, hitting close to 350.
Yeah.
So he's becoming a very good leadoff hitter. Came into the game hitting 323.
0-1 pitch to him. Yeah, he was just off the outer edge.
Doesn't have a lot of power, but he's hit 2 home runs this year. In 1,400 minor league at bats, he only hit 2 home runs. So maybe he's gaining some power now. Got 2 in less than 200 at bats now.
That is out of play. It's a ball and 2 strikes.
He was an excellent base runner in the minor leagues. He stole 179 out of 202 for an 89% stolen base percentage in the minor leagues. And he's been very good percentage-wise in the big leagues.
Now the 1-2. Yeah, the A's, primarily because of his leadership as far as stolen bases, have the best stolen base percentage going.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned Burns, 15 out of 18 by himself. Now the 2-2. Full count to Burns. Burns, a switch hitter, trying to get aboard with 2 outs. Eric Sogard, the left-handed hitting second baseman, to be next. Anthony Bass with the payoff pitch. Elvis charging this, unloads, and gets Burns by a couple of steps. A 1-2-3 inning for Anthony Bass with a couple of punch-outs. Rangers coming to bat in the bottom of the 8th, trailing Oakland 8-6. Leading the Rangers 8-6. AT&T would like to remind you tomorrow night we're right back here 7 o'clock on Fox Sports Southwest. Stephen Vogt of the A's taking on Prince Fielder and the Rangers. Vote, as we mentioned, crushing the Rangers this year. A .375 average, and Prince Fielder crushing things at Globe Life Park this year. 5th best home average in the American League. Well, that'll be tomorrow night, but first of all, the Rangers have a little bit of work to do here. They trail 8-6, and Ryan Rua leading things off in the bottom of the 8th inning. It'll be Rua, Chirinos, and Odor to face Fernando Rodriguez. Rua 0 for 3 tonight. Takes that pitch outside, 2-0. Ryan with the average currently at 188 facing Rodriguez. Fernando Rodriguez came on to get the final out of the 7th. Gave up the RBI double to Elvis. And got Leonis Martin to ground out in things. Rangers had cut the lead to a couple of runs. 8-6. Chirinos waiting to be next. The 2-1 pitch. Almost looked like an Ephus pitch. Stay up there compared to what he was throwing.
One of those balls that hung so much. And Ryan kind of jammed himself with it. Maybe if that ball comes down and out over the plate a little bit more, puts a charge in it.
Well, the count evens at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Got him swinging. A little bit of gas upstairs, and really couldn't catch up. 1 gone. The first strikeout for Rodriguez tonight. And Robinson Chirinos, who is 1 for 2, steps to the plate. Chirinos walked back in the 2nd. He led off the 5th inning by singling to left, and that started the 4-run Ranger uprising in that frame. A strike at the knees. Rodriguez, a high set. That breaking ball in the dirt came up and hit Chirinos right into the bill of the cat. We got him on the cheek. Off the catcher. Boom. Right on the cheek of Chirinos. Ow.
Boy. Talk about him a lot, the beating he takes behind the plate. You don't expect to get one on a curveball in the dirt in the face.
You can't get away from that, can you?
Man.
Not when you're hitting. So 1 ball and 1 strike.
Man, he tried it again. This time Robinson, he didn't turn around to watch that one. He turned toward third base that time.
I'm leaving. Much as no, I know what happened last night.
Not that time. He was ready for it.
2-1 now. Begley flashing the signs out, and Rodriguez picks one out. 3-1. Oh, Chirinos trying to get aboard. That would bring the tying run to the plate here in the 8th inning. Rougned Odor waits in the on-deck circle. $35,889 on hand here tonight. And ball 4. That will indeed bring the tying run to the plate.
Probably bring Bob Melvin to the mound, too, with 3 left-hand hitters in a row.
Yep.
And a lefty warming up out in the bullpen.
You got Drew Pomeranz out there, and that's exactly who Bob Melvin wants as he points out toward the left center field bullpen of the A's. I want Pomeranz to come in. So Rodriguez gone. Rangers have a runner at first. Rougned Odor coming up. And we have a pitching change on hand here at Globe Life Park. 8-6 Oakland. We're back after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Is aboard. That was the last hitter that Fernando Rodriguez was asked to face. Now the 26-year-old left-hander Drew Pomeranz, part-time starter, part-time reliever on now. Pomeranz, a big guy at 6'5", 240 pounds. Came over from the Colorado Rockies year before last. And he's facing Rougned Odor. And Rougned, a big night. He led the game off by singling. Popped one into the alley in left center field for the double. Next time up, see you later. A 2-run home run. They got the Rangers on top and that jump. Rougned 3 out of 4 tonight. 2 runs driven in. And he represents the tying run for the Rangers here in the 8th inning. And the first pitch from Pomeranz is high for ball 1. Rougned has had some experience against Pomeranz. He's 2 for 4 in his career against the left-hander. Pomeranz, a Tennessee native, comes back to the plate. That's high. 2 balls, no strikes. We told you about the problems that the Oakland bullpen has had this year. I'm going to go out and say something to Pomeranz. Pomeranz, part of that difficult time down there. Bob Melvin really feels like most nights he has to stick with his starter as long as possible. Tom, you touched on that earlier in the ballgame. Starters need to stay in there and get as deep into the ballgame as possible. Tonight, Chavez only lasted 5.
Most dependable reliever is Tyler Clippard, the closer. And on Saturday and Sunday, he had saves, but he had to pitch an inning and a third and an inning and 2/3 to get him. Threw a lot of pitches over those 2 days. Had an off day, but after 50 or 60 pitches over 2 days, we'll see if he's available tonight.
Most blown saves in the American League, Oakland and Toronto. Rangers 1 behind. Pomeranz with a 3-0 count to Odor. And ball 4. The tying runs are aboard with Joey Gallo coming up.
Well, Chichi got in trouble after the Rangers took a lead. He had a walk and a hit batter among the first 3 hitters of the 6th inning. That was the A's big 4-run inning. The Rangers are going to try to take advantage of a couple of walks in the first 3 hitters here in the 8th inning to put up a big inning of their own. And some power hitters coming up.
And what I like this matchup from Joey Gallo's standpoint, because Pomeranz having control problems. His fastball even though it has good velocity, is relatively straight. And left-hander against left-hander doesn't bode well most of the time for the hitter, but I like this matchup. I don't think you can throw the ball too hard for Joey Gallo. If it's straight, he's going to turn it around. A 2 on with 1 out. Rangers trailing by a pair. And now Fegley going to give some defensive signs to the infield just in case. Bob Melvin wanted to cover all the bases if he possibly can. Now we are set to go. Fegley back down behind the plate. Gallo tonight, a double in 4 trips. Pomeranz with the first pitch. Breaking ball. He got it over.
That was a hanger, too.
Yeah, and almost got it out of here.
Well, if you're going to hang a breaking ball, there it is.
Nothing and 1. Pomeranz a check of second. And a fastball right down through there. Now, even a hanger will get a hitter's mind off the fastball, won't it?
Sure, anything off speed. That was a pitch that Joey saw all the way. He eyeballed it, thought it was a little bit outside, but it just caught the outside corner.
Now the 0-2 coming. Laid off that breaking ball that time. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Rich Fielder waiting to be next after Gallo. Got Chirinos at second, trailed by Odor at first. Rangers trailing 8-6 in the 8th inning. Another hanger stayed inside too far, and Gallo fouled it off. Still 1-2. Gallo with 5 home runs, 10 RBI to his credit. Two balls, 2 strikes. Chirinos walked against Fernando Rodriguez. Pomeranz came in and walked Odor. Now Gallo with a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Got him swinging. Got the fastball away and up a little bit. Gallo down on strikes. There are now 2 away, and Prince Fielder coming up. Just a bit above belt high and maybe off the plate a hair. Fielder 1 for 3 this evening. He had a 5th inning double. Also had a walk. That was way back in the 1st inning. 1 for 5 in his career against Drew Pomeranz. The left-hander sets. And drops in the breaking ball. Pomeranz originally came to the big leagues with the Colorado Rockies back in 2011. Went 2-1 that year in 4 ball games. Had 22 starts in 2012, but with just 2-9. He's out of the University of Mississippi. 0-1 pitch. Fielder now down in the count. First and second. Fielder, the league's top average this year with runners in scoring position, coming into play tonight. A .419 mark. 0-2. Instead, Pomeranz, a little inside move to check second base. Rangers as a team tonight are 3 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Left-hander set again, the 0-2. Sogard on to Davis, and that will do it. Well, the Rangers get a couple of walks the inning, but Strand 2, we're going to the ninth at Globe Life Park. It remains the A's 8 and the Rangers 6.
We've got Rangers Live, the post-game edition coming up right after the game. Pudge and Mac will be here to break down Chi-Chi's start tonight. Also, Elvis and Rougned Odor's busy night at the plate. We will also hear from Josh Hamilton with his rehab plan set. You can hear it in his own words, and we'll look ahead to Wandy's start tomorrow in Game 2 against the A's. That's all coming up right after the game. Join me, Mac, and Pudge in just a bit, but now we'll get it back to Buzz and Tom, guys.
All right, Dana, thank you. Well, we head to the ninth inning, and Alex Claudio will come on into the ball game, and Alex will face Sogard, Zobrist, and Reddick, the first 3 that are scheduled to face him. Alex, the 23-year-old out of San Juan, Puerto Rico. Last time we saw Alex was on Sunday, and unfortunately, the last time we saw him, he was walking off the mound after giving up the 11th inning leadoff home run that won the ball game. Gordon Beckham hit the first pitch he saw from Claudio in that 11th inning into the bullpen, and that ended the ball game for the White Sox as they won 3-2. Eric Sogard takes the next pitch outside, 2 balls and no strikes. Sogard 1 for 3 tonight. Had a single, an RBI. He's also walked and scored. A's 8 runs on 11 hits. Rangers 6 runs on 10 hits tonight. Sogard a .256 average. And a little nubber foul at the plate. 2-2. Alex recalled by the Rangers from AAA during that Chicago series. Rangers felt like they could use the extra left-hander in the bullpen. Here's that changeup, and Sogard mesmerized by it. Could not pull the trigger, just stood there dumbfounded, and he's gone on strikes.
Just looked like it took too long to get there. Right on the outside corner. Sogard eyeballs it all the way. Might have thought it was outside, but looked like it caught the corner.
Oh, one away. Here's Ben Zobrist, who turns around to hit from the right side against the lefty Claudio. Zobrist, big 2-run home run in the 7th inning. That gave the A's a 3-run cushion at that point. He is 2 for 3 officially tonight. He also walked and scored. So he is trending upwards, as they say, a .252 average now. Here's that change up again. 2-1.
Wow.
Pulled foul.
You can't pull a ball much more than that.
I don't think so. Not unless you hit yourself.
They went right down the entryway to the A's dugout. They have a screen there to block it, but it doesn't go all the way over there. That found the entrance. Entrance was open, and he knocked it right in the door.
2-2 pitch. Popped him up. Coming back, Chirinos. And he runs out of room. That's back in the first row, just over the screen. No, still 2-2. The Rangers trying to get something going here at home. They are 15-16 this year at Globe Life Park. They need to come back in this one, though. Trailing 8-6. Here in the top of the 9th inning. And another chopper foul by Zobrist. Last time we saw the Rangers here at home was against the Dodgers last Tuesday night. That was the last game that Chichi Gonzalez started. Worked 8 1/3 shutout baseball. Really pitched well. Gave up the 2-run home run, game-tying 2-run home run to Justin Turner. And then Robinson Chirinos walked it off in the bottom of the 9th. Adrian Beltre making the catch on Zobrist's soft liner. 2 gone. So who will be the hero here tonight?
I almost forgot something, Buzz, that I promised we would tell. Who started the Antlers?
Oh, yeah.
Esteban Herman.
Esteban Herman. There you go.
I'd written that down and then forgot to say it. And I said we wouldn't leave you hanging. Well, we left you hanging for about 2 hours. But Esteban Herman evidently developed that in the minor leagues, brought it to spring training, and then Elvis and the rest of the guys took it from there.
Did he say he had done that too in winter ball?
Might have actually started in winter ball and then broke it out in AAA and then took it to the big leagues. But I don't remember any other teams doing that before that time.
No, I agree with you.
Some kind of sign from the base runner after he got on base. And virtually everybody does it now.
Yeah, in one form or another.
Yeah. That wouldn't have gone over too big about 50 years ago,
No.
I don't think.
I don't think so. Josh Reddick cutting through that breaking ball. He's down on the count now, 0-2. Reddick a base hit in 4 trips tonight. 289 the average. Rangers in an extreme overshift against the left-handed hitter. 1-2. Now, can you imagine what Bob Gibson would have thought of somebody doing that? And there were a lot in the same.
Yeah, he probably would have hit his own guys if they did it.
Get him in batting practice.
Yeah.
And Reddick lofts a fly ball to center field. It's way up in the air and plenty of time for Leonis Martin to amble over. A 1-2-3 inning for Alex Claudio. A's are gone. Rangers have some work to do. Beltre, Moreland, and Andrews try to get it started when we come back. 8-6 Oakland. Baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By AT&T UVerse TV. UVerse has more live TV channels on the go than cable. And by your Texas Ford dealer. Visit your Texas Ford dealer now for great deals on America's best-selling brand. Ford is the best in Texas. Now the bottom of the ninth inning. Adrian Beltre will start things off against the lefty Drew Pomeranz. Pomeranz misses with ball one. Beltre reached on an error and scored in the seventh inning. He was 0 for 3 officially. Sam Fuld has entered the ball game to take over defensively in left field. 2 balls, no strikes.
That's one of those games where you would expect to see Clippard in there, but maybe the work that he had Saturday and Sunday is making him unavailable today.
Fastball down the middle. And you have 65 pitches or 63 pitches.
over those 2 days.
2 days.
Well, even with an off day yesterday, that's still a pretty good workload.
Yeah, and for a guy that's been exclusively a ninth inning guy.
Yeah. He pitched an inning and 2/3 one day and an inning and a third another day.
2-1 the count to Adrian. You see the last pitch borderline, but he got the call. Foul ball, foul, and the count evens at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Edward Mujica, right-hander, up and throwing. Looking fast, Beltre. You have Mitch Moreland to be next. And you have right-handed hitting Elvis Andrus and left-handed hitting Leonis Martin. So you would figure as long as Pomeranz is throwing strikes, he's going to be out there. Tried the back door with a breaking ball, and Adrian dancing all around it. 3-2. Beltre trying to get aboard to bring the tying run to the plate. Mitch Moreland would be that next hitter if Adrian gets aboard. Adrian walking around like he's a little disgusted with himself. And I think watching Beltre over the years, he probably expects himself to come off and have his timing where he doesn't miss a pitch like that in the ninth inning.
Yeah, it's tough to take that much time off and then come back and be in mid-season form. But I guess if there's anybody that could do it, it would be him.
Yeah.
Most guys would go on a rehab assignment. He, I'm sure, said, I don't need one.
And he lines one to left. That's in for a base hit.
There you go.
Well, you give it to him twice, and he's going to get one of them.
That's what you want. Get that tying run to the plate. Get a man on base, see if you can't get something going. Maybe you hang one to Mitch, and we've had some big hits late in ball games. Be a good time for another one right here.
Pomeranz trying to come inside to test out that sore left thumb.
Yeah.
Adrian said, nope, not in there. Well, 1 on, nobody out. Mitch Moreland tonight is singled in 4 trips. Pomeranz, a check of Beltre. And Mitch swinging through a fastball, 0-1. Moreland in previous matchups with Pomeranz, just 0 for 1. Also has a walk mixed in there. 1 ball and 1 strike. Beltre aboard after the leadoff single. Hits are now even at 11 for each ball club. Rangers trailing by a couple in the run column. 1-2. Pomeranz pretty much bracketing that strike zone with those 2 fastballs. The left-hander ready. And the 1-2 pitch. Rolled out to second. They go to second for one. The return to first in time. And that removes the possibility of having the tying run come to the plate yet. The double play. Beltre retired, as is Moreland. And 2 outs for Elvis Andrus. First double play of the night turned by the A's. Elvis, a 3-hit night. He has 2 doubles and a single. He has driven in a couple. He has also scored a run. He takes strike 1. 243 the average for the Rangers shortstop. And the breaking ball. All of a sudden Pomeranz sharpening up here in the second inning of work for himself. Oh, and 2. Now a ball and 2 strikes. Elvis waiting, trying to get aboard with 2 outs here in the ninth. Got him swinging. Pomeranz gives up a leadoff single with a double play and a strikeout, and that ends the Rangers' hopes for a comeback here tonight. The A's win it 8-6, and they win the first game of this 3-game set. The A's now are 7-4 against the Rangers this season, and they are to make that 3-1 here in this ballpark. It was a difficult night for Chichi Gonzalez, who suffered his first difficult start. Our GXU Energy Power Player of the game, Josh Begley, the A's catcher who had a home run to the A's bullpen, also had a big 2-run double. That came off Chichi Gonzalez and drove him out of the ball game. 3 runs driven in for Josh Begley, and also doing the honors behind the plate tonight. He's our GXU Energy Power Player of the game. We'll come back to Globe Life Park to wrap things up for you right after this on Fox Sports Southwest.